Good afternoon. This is Harold Zawatsky. I am the chair of the Fairville Board of Assessment Appeals. Today is Tuesday, April the 27th, and the time is 5:18 p.m. That's April 27th, 2021. And I'm calling this meeting to order. And this meeting is for the deliberation and voting upon appeals properly brought before the board. So I will ask Kathy, who is taking our minutes, Kathy O'Brien, if you would please do the roll call. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Paulette Cujo.
Sure.
Kathleen Griffin.
Here.
Alexis Harrison. Alexis is not present. Peter Rupert. Peter is not present. Harold Zawatsky.
Here.
Ronique Patel.
Here.
John Spoilier. John is not present. Judy Zablack.
Here.
Catherine Giff.
Here.
That completes the roll call.
I think we need to call Paulette.
I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you. If I missed Kathy, if I missed Paulette's name being mentioned, I apologize. But thank you very much. So we have an appeal that has been requested to be retabled. And so I'm going to make a motion. I am one of the members who voted on this appeal. I'm going to make a motion to recall to the table appeal number 531. Do I have a second? Judy,
this is Kathleen, or for Kathy. It's actually reconsider, I think, is what the technical term is. So we just to reconsider. Okay.
Thank you. To reconsider appeal number 531, and Judy has seconded it. All those in favor of reconsidering this appeal, please raise your hand. It's unanimous, 6 in favor of reconsidering this appeal, and I've asked Judy to join us because she was the hearing officer, and Judy will be leaving us after this appeal, I believe.
Oh, come on.
Maybe one or two more after that, Paulette, but I do have another statement. This is appeal number 531. The owner's name is Catherine Augusto. The property location is at 256 Pratt Street in Fairfield. The town has valued the property at $839,500. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $575,000. I make a motion to approve the fair market value of $575,000. Is there a second?
This is Paulette. I'll second.
Thank you very much. So we started this appeal, and the appraisal was submitted, but the bottom was cut off. And that's why we put it aside, and that's why we're doing this again, okay? So this is really cut and dry. We have an appraisal. The appraisal is $575,000. Town's value is $839,500. The appraisal is right there in front of us. It was dated, I think it was 2/20, just bear with me. I think it was 2/20. Just let me double check it.
Looks like 2/14/2020, but you know.
Thank you very much. 6 days earlier. Okay. All right. So, okay. So that's what we have. It's right here. They've also supplied some additional comparables around. You know, we have all done a number of these multifamilies in that general area. I really am not sure why we need to, you know, delve into anything crazy when we have all of these comparables and we have the appraisal. And I don't know that too much discussion is needed unless somebody really I see Kathleen with her hand up. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Judy. So I just want to, I believe the appellant, the reason that she felt that she just, so, anybody who's listening, the reason she felt that she deserved to be reconsidered was she said that the comps that she gave were not mentioned when the appeal was presented. So I believe perhaps we talked about the appraisal. It may have been older, or we didn't like it, or for whatever reason. But I can see if I can find her email here, but I'm pretty sure that's what
Oh, okay.
was that she gave
For
comps
whatever
and they were
reason.
never brought up, and so she wanted to make sure that we had considered the comps before, since they were not presented. I don't know, I'd have to find her email, but I'm pretty sure that was the text of her email.
All right. So that's on page 8 with the comps that she presented, which are on Beaumont Street. We all remember those. That Bungalow, Riverside. And those sales are within the period.
Excuse me, this is Kathy. I just need to interrupt a second. I missed the vote for granting the appeal, the second vote. Was that unanimous also?
This is Harold. We granted reconsider this appeal. We
Right, I
granted-
got that 160, but then Judy made a motion to grant the appellant's ask, and I got a second from Paulette, but I missed the vote if there was one.
We have not voted yet. This is Harold.
Kathy, I think it was unanimous to bring it back to the table to reconsider. Did anyone not want to consider it? I remember all of us raising our hands. I think it was 6-0 to reconsider.
Right, I got
Yeah,
that, but then you had a second motion on the table. That
Right.
Paulette,
But we haven't
so
voted
don't you
on
have
it
to
yet.
vote on that before you start discussing it again?
Right.
Oh, no.
Right, reconsider just means we're bringing it back. You have to bring it back on the agenda, somebody needs to, because we've already decided it, has to be motioned by somebody who was in the majority to bring it back. We all agreed that it was okay to bring it back with a 6-0 vote, and now now Judy brought it back again. So it's a separate motion.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sorry.
I'll
Okay,
help
I
you with
see.
the minutes. I know it's a little confusing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so as I was talking about, she also included the comps that we all know about because we've heard them many times before. Beaumont and Bungalow and Riverside, you can see those. I think Bungalow is interesting too. This property is also in a flood zone. So, I don't know why we're giving people such a hard time on this. We have an appraisal. The property's in a flood zone. And
I suppose we also need, since we are reconsidering this is Harold speaking. We did vote unanimously to deny it last time. I'm not sure what the arguments were, but there were some considerations that led us to vote unanimously to deny this. So I think we need to have some further discussion.
This is Paulette. Harold, I agree. And I'm wondering if we denied it because the appraisal was incomplete. Because I can't imagine after reading this appraisal today that I would have voted to deny this appeal based on what's in it. So I think we stopped because the page was cut off and maybe we couldn't see some of the figures at the bottom. I mean, I'm just thinking that's what it was. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that's why we might have denied it.
This is Kathleen. Did anybody go back and listen to our discussion?
No.
I have a note. I have an initial
not.
note on mine that I initially thought the appraisal might have been a little low. I might have said that I thought the appraisal was low, but after I look at it again, I do not believe it is low. And especially after we heard some of these other properties, and we're, reviewing the comps even more, that I believe that we're A-okay.
This is Harold, how would the board feel about making an amendment to the requested value?
What was the requested value? I'm looking back.
575.
Okay. What was it before that?
What are you thinking, Harold?
Yeah, what do you think,
I mean,
Harold?
we do have the appraisal.
Before that, it was 621,800.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
6,000, this is Kathleen. Harold, what was 6,000?
621,800. The previous assessed value was 435,260. That's 435,260 divided by 0.7 to get the appraised value. Let me do this again. 435,260. 435,260 divided by 0.7 gets me 621,800. Okay, and I believe that the appellant lives in part of this unit, and perhaps her relatives lives in the other part, so that is why it's a two-family. So I would like to make an amendment to adjust the value to $621,800.
This is Ravneek. I'll second that.
All those in favor?
I'm sorry, can we have discussion on the amendment?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just looking at I'm looking at the sales. I know we voted unanimously against it before, whether we saw her comps or not, we just didn't talk about it. I'm just pointing out her house is, of all of her comps, she's the largest square footage in the house, it looks like, as well as the lot size, except for, and the comps are Beaumont, Bungalow, Ardmore, and Valley Road, and she's on Pratt Street, which is probably, I would say of all of those addresses, Pratt Street's going to be, the nicest location. I don't know about the Riverside Drive. I don't know if that was an older home, earlier sale. So she just has she's got a really big house. So I have a tough time bringing her below, any of those. Right at 621, she's lower than the Beaumont comp, which is
the Beaumont property is located in a different neighborhood code. It's in code 67. It has 8,250 square feet, and that land is valued at $396,600. So it is valued at less than the appellant's land value. It is in a different neighborhood, and it is about 1,000 square feet.
right. And it's sold for 669. That's what I'm looking at, the 8/28 date. I mean, that's probably, Bungalow is another one smaller. So she's at 3,244 square feet. She's a two-family, not a three-family. I don't know what that means in terms of income, other than if she's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, she's probably got, a decent house there. So I'm looking at those sales. Yeah, that's what she asked us to do. She says, should we feel like we missed the sale? So I'm looking at the sales.
Of course.
So this is Harold, do you feel that it should be something north of $700,000?
Again, without, more information on the 83 Beaumont, I could look it up and look at it. And I'm just saying she's got 500 square feet more, a bigger lot, and I think it's a nicer location than the Beaumont Street. I don't know about the rental stream, which is one of the things we look at with multifamilies, is the income on the properties, or whether, just if she lives in one half and is renting out the other half. Just Pratt Street is, in that Reef Road neighborhood area. We've done a fair number of houses in there, and you know, some of them, there's just good value in there, and that's a, you know, I don't know. I'm looking at the Beaumont comp. That's the one that's
This is,
to be lower than that 650.
this is Harold. Do we have multifamily homes in the area of 69 that we can point to that we might have heard already or that have been covered?
Yeah, Beaumont's not that, Beaumont's not that far away. It's just a different, right? Is Beaumont's in a different neighborhood code?
Yes, it's a code 67.
Yeah, that's an older home, you know, a 3-story. It looks like it's a 3-family. The pictures look, you know, it's in nice shape.
If it's a 3-family, than hers.
Yeah, you can't compare a 3-family to a 2-family. You'd absolutely have to discount the price on the 3-family because you got more income.
This Kathleen, that's what I'm asking because she did list it as a comp. So she's the one who put it out. She put it on the list.
Yeah. Well, so it should be adjusted because
Okay.
that is, it just needs adjustment, just like the appraiser makes adjustments.
Right. So how would you adjust the 83 Beaumont? What would you say it should be to be comparable to hers?
This is Harold. What did the appraisal adjust?
Wasn't on the appraisal because it's a newer sale.
I thought it was somewhere. She's got a bunch of comps in this appraisal. They're not all on the same pages. Let me look.
It's a 3-family, it's a family, each has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. I'm sorry, the third one has 1 bath. One of them is leased through 2021 at $2,000 a month. So, you know, you would assume that gets over $5,000 a month, closer to $6,000 a month. One has 1 less bathroom. So, I mean, that's, or you could look at it, this income stream is $20,000 more a year based on her income stream because they've got the extra apartment. So would they pay more for the $20,000 income stream? I think they would.
Of course you would pay more for the 3-family.
It also closed at $20,000 more than the list price in 3 weeks. So again, bought solely for investment property. Ronique, I'm sorry, I jumped in there.
Yes, Renee.
No, it's actually in addition to that. I'm looking at the appraisal, and for 144 Beaumont, they do have a unit breakdown of the rental income, and there's only 2 units listed for 144 Beaumont. Oh wait, this is 83 Beaumont.
This is a different address on Beaumont, Ronique. It's a different address.
My apologies.
Number 83 Beaumont sold. They're using 144, I think, is the one you're looking at as a rental comp. But Kathleen's looking at the 83 Beaumont as a sale comp.
Right.
And look at the picture of 83 Beaumont.
Oh,
On
I'm
page-
looking.
On page 50 of 127.
Yeah.
The hefty appeal.
I was looking at the sales photos, but I didn't look at the. Okay.
The ML listing is there on page 50.
So that to me sets a ceiling. Even if you look at, it's a 3-family, the square footage is a little less, but that sets a ceiling for this house, no matter what, because it's an extra apartment.
And you can also walk to town in the train.
And you can also walk to town. So
I hear you.
to the train.
Does-
I would be amenable, Harold, I would be amenable to the 621.8 as you suggested.
Well, this is Harold. That takes her back to where she was in the last revalue period. Do we feel
Right.
that there's any additional value to this property based upon the location or comps that are in the area that we have seen or that have been included in the appraisal?
I want to be real clear. We have an appraisal of $575,000. You know, when you have an appraisal from an appraiser, listen to that. The only reason I'm actually even considering the 621.8 is because I don't want this to go by the wayside, her to get denied. And I'd like to make sure that she gets some kind of relief, because obviously, we just base it on the 83 Beaumont. We know that that's 660. We know that 669 is the top ceiling. We know that. So if that's the case, and we've got people here who don't want to go to 575, but we can compromise and go to where she was, I think that's reasonable, and I would work with that.
All right, any further comment or discussion, or do we need more time? I will
the
call the
only
vote.
thing this is Veronique. The only thing I would add is that the appraisals from February, the reason why I would be looking at a 621 versus the appraisal value is because, look at 83 Beaumont. That was sold in, June, July? So, anyways, I'm belaboring the point.
Okay, then I will, we need to vote on the amendment. All those in favor of amending the value to $621,800, please raise your hand. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor. Opposed? 1 opposed. Kathleen's opposed. And now to the original amendment. All those in favor of granting, in part, this appeal to $621,800, please raise your hand. I have 5 in favor. Opposed? 1 opposed. Kathleen's opposed. The motion is granted. The appeal is granted. Motion carries. The vote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor, 1 opposed. Kathleen's opposed. And Judy, thank you very much for participating. If you want to stick around, please do so.
I'd love to get a few
Thanks for
Catherine,
a couple more minutes. Go ahead.
All right. The first one, number 610, is the appeal. Sarah Lynn
I
Garner.
think we're doing condos for those of you using the multi-sheet thing. So go to your condo tab.
We good?
Yeah.
Thank you for Kathleen. It's good to have everybody on the same page. So appeal number 610, Sarah Lynn Garner is the owner of 168 Glengarry Road. And unfortunately, she was sick and called in sick for the first hearing and was unable to reschedule. So I don't think we can hear this appeal because it was not, as Harold says in the very beginning, the properly presented appeal. Is that correct? So Kathleen, could you guide me on the proper wording and disposition of the appeal? But you're on mute.
Was there a motion on the did you make a motion?
I didn't know exactly what to do.
Yeah, you can still, we have, bless you. We have
Okay.
been motioning to approve
Thank
with
you.
a second, and then we've been voting to deny because we don't have the authority to grant an appeal if they don't appear. And so I've been asking Kathy in the minutes, rather than saying we discussed the testimony and the documentation, since there was no testimony, we just say the appellant did not hear in the minutes, and then we've been voting to deny them, so at least the appeal is closed out.
So I will make a motion to reduce the town's value of $423,400 to $400,000. May I have a second?
This is Harold, a second.
Thank you. As I said, the appellant was contacted and there was no communication back. And I did confirm that with our Catherine Napolitano. That's her name. So I make a motion to call it to vote. Or can I call it to vote?
Request.
A request. I request a vote.
This is Harold. I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Opposed. The vote is 0-6-0. The appeal is not granted.
I have a question for everybody since I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I have one condo.
No,
So
I'm going. I'm going. I've researched on these 4 condos.
All right. All right, then. Okay, I wanted to get rid of all of mine. It's okay. Go ahead.
Stick around and maybe we'll
I
get the-
can't, I have an appointment, so I can't really stick around. Stay for 1 year, and then I gotta go.
Okay. Appeal number 161 for number 181 Fairfield Woods Road. It's a Dogwood Green condominium. It was a phone in, and I discussed the information with Ed Roloff, the owner. And I'd like to make a motion to reduce the town's value of $217,200 to the appellant's fair market value of $211,400. May I have a second?
This is Harold. I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Roloff says so the difference is about $5,800, I believe, and he is appealing 2 items on his card. One is the garage. He says the garage value of $5,800 should be removed because units sell with or without the garages at the same sales price. He did try to present some value, but it's very difficult to say that, he did present one Dogwood Green as an acquired section of the, so he doesn't think that having a garage access should add value to his condo. And then the second part is a patio, which he said that other units do not have the patio listed on them. It's a $900 assessed value. And there are actually 5 units with patios, and they all have an assessment based on the square footage if the size of the patio varies. So we'd have to remove the patio from all of the appeals if they're not to say, but there are other units that have the assessment as part of it. Is there any other information I can provide? And just to be completely clear, the other unit that's sold, 80 Montauk Street, did sell for $200,200 in his lists here. Ronique?
So this is Ronique. Is he saying he does not have a patio and a garage?
No, he does have them. He just doesn't think that they add value and they should be removed from his card.
This is
Okay,
Kathleen.
thank
Do
you.
the other condos have the garage on them? Values on them? They do.
Yeah.
So it's all the same. So that's sort of how the assessor values those condos. Okay.
Yeah.
And the same with the patios. He appraises he includes the patios in the condos. Okay.
And it's true that not all the condos have patios. Some of them do, and they are assessed accordingly.
Correct.
Okay. So, does anyone need any more time? Any further discussion? I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appellant's appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand.
Oh, sorry. My bad. My bad.
All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? Could I ask everyone to hold up your hands until I can see all the photos? Hold up your hands if you are opposed. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed. Abstentions?
Where's Paul at?
I have 1 abstention. Paulette, how are you voting?
I was voting in favor.
Oh, I didn't see your hand initially. So
I'm
I
sorry,
have 1 in favor, 4 opposed, and 1 abstention. That is Judy abstaining and Paulette in favor. The appeal is not granted. It is denied. The vote is 1, 4, 1. Again, Judy abstaining and Paulette voting in favor.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you, Judy.
Judy.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye. Good luck.
We do have a quorum, so we will continue, and we do have other
Thank you,
members
Bob.
joining us within the next hour.
I'd like to present appeal 322, number 202, Glengarry Road. I met with the owner, Margaret Grasso. I'd like to make a motion to reduce the town's value of $455,900 to the appellant's value of $414,000. Could I have a second? Looks like Kathleen's got her hand up there. Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Grasso brought in a wealth of information. She had everybody's property card. She had all the sales. So we had a lovely chat about Glengarry, it's the condos. She stuck to all the ones, the units that were exactly the same as hers. So that's the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I believe it was, but she had them all out there on 19 units, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Those on each side of her sold. And now number 206 sold in March of 2020 at $475,500. Definitely an outlier. Everybody knew this woman had a $100,000 renovation. Everybody was talking about the heated floors. Apparently top of the line, fully renovated unit. And the town has it valued at $450,700, significantly less than its sale price. Well, $25,000 less than its sale price. Number 204 sold in September of 20, same unit as hers with a redone master bath. That sold for $429,000. And the reason she gets to her value, and the town value is less than that, than the sales price at $421. And the reason that's the one that she uses to come up with her money. She backs out $15,000 from that unit because that would be the cost of the master bath to add in to make it a comparable sale. So that is how she got to her number. There were also 2 other units of the same style unit that sold. 53 Blackmount sold September 2020 for $400,000, and that had a renovated kitchen. The town's value is $391,000. And 93 Gate Ridge sold at the beginning of the reval period, November of 2019, and that sold for $390,000. And if you go through, she has, many of the where she is at the highest $455,000 town value. So I'll give you the 4 numbers of the 4 sales. The one was $475,000 with the complete renovation. And the other 3 sales are $429,000, $400,000, $390,000. And she's requesting a value of $414,000.
This is Harold. I have a question. These units that have different street addresses, they appear to similar to the appellant's condo. Are they in the same complex, just on a different street?
I want to say it's Woodfield Village, but I could be wrong on the name. But I
No,
think it's Woodfield.
You're right.
Okay, it's all Woodfield Village. And
Woodfield.
so they're all streets. And so her style, I want to say it's the Fenwick. I could be wrong, but I think it's the Fenwick on one of the field cards. They're all the same. And this woman had, Meg she's lived in our town. Actually, she was one of the reporters. She was a journalist. She took me through all my PTA and Board of Education meetings. So I read many of her articles. And so she's lived in the town, and she would be one to know where all those are. She's great investigative journalist. So she put that to work here. So it's the same style condo, the same model, I guess is the word, all in the same complex, Harold.
Okay. She points to the one that had the remodeled master bath. However, I see on her card, I believe, that she also had a notification on the card or indication that she had a remodeled bath, albeit some time ago.
I think the only thing I saw on her card was she pulled a permit for windows to
Okay,
replace.
so maybe I was looking at the wrong card. Okay,
You might look at, she included everyone's card in there. So perhaps you're looking at the card that said it was a remodeled bath. Yes, that's the one that she's saying. She thinks she should be a little less than that one.
yes. So this is Harold again. I mean, in comparing the size of the condos, are they all ground floor? Are they all similar square footage?
Their townhome,
Any,
exact same model. I mean, they may be slightly somewhere else in the complex, but they're all the same model. 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
okay,
And they're up in their townhouse style.
all right. Does anyone need any more time? Kathleen, you have your
No,
hand
this
up?
is Kathleen. I think it's probably her depreciation code, Catherine, is which is we look at the condos. Is that accurate?
That the assessor could look at that. I would agree.
Right. So is that going to bring her to, in other words, is the number she's requesting a depreciation code of 3 on that condo so that it matches the neighbor that's 3 or not exactly?
I didn't ask around the
Okay.
number. I just thought I'd go with her.
Well, let me just, I had a card up. So give me 1 second. Let me look at one that's a 3 and I'll just, as long as the number's pretty close, that's a 4. One of them had a 3. Which one was it? The 204 has a 3 on it.
Well, 25 also has a 3.
Okay, so what's the town value is probably going to be the same on all of them. 421, 400. Is that what you see? 421, 400. And she's looking to be lower than that. I just want to see what it does. That's all. Right, Harold, the one you're looking at is a 421, 400 as well.
I'm sorry, I'm just roaming around here, which you want to.
I looked at 204. I just was wondering if you looked at a different one than 204. That's all. 204 has a depreciation code of 3 on it. Sold for 429 in September of 22, and the town has it at 421, 400. So it's appraised a little higher. It's sold a little higher than what it's appraised for. So what is she asking? Is she asking for the 421?
She's asking for 414. She did it on a sales value. If you scroll down, she has all the assessments and sales prices, handwritten chart. And there are some differences in the appraisal amounts. They're not a standard town.
They're not the standard depreciation code 3 for a 421 number. Okay.
They're all a little different. Some are at 391. Maybe Glengarry, maybe her address has a little higher one, but they're all kind of not the same. It may be by address, but
okay, so she's going to end up with some kind of an override. That's all, with an unusual number. I'm not saying, at the market value at 429, is she probably 421, or she wants less because she doesn't have the redone master bath, right? She's taking 15 off for that, right? Because the other person sold for 429, which is higher than the town has it. So perhaps that person should be at 421, or 429, but it's okay.
The other part, I think by chasing.
I know, I just don't like ending up with the overrides. They just get messy.
Does anybody need more time?
Especially in the
Paul,
comments.
you have a question?
I have a question. I probably should have asked this before, but I don't remember doing many condos. So the land is held in common. So when you look at the field card, the land value is 0, but that land is paid for somewhere. I mean, it's not a free piece of land. So I guess I'd want to ask Ross, where is the land value? How does that get calculated in? Does that go into the price of the building as one thing? How do you value that land?
I think you may have to ask, this is Harold, you may have to ask Ross that question outside of this meeting because he is not with us this evening at this time. So I would hold on to that question. I mean, certainly you could email him or make a request to the assessor's office, or if he joins us later this evening, you can ask him at that time how land is valued in condos. I think it's a good question to ask because we do have condos in the beach area that also have land values that are not reflected in each individual condo. So I would suggest that you may wish to ask that question when we have Ross available, or ask him on your own.
Okay, well, I have two reasons to ask the question. So if he's here later, I would like to ask him. That was the first question, just in general, how do they value that? Where does
Yeah.
that value go? And the other question is the coding of the neighborhood. It's coded as 85 Fairfield Woods. It is definitely in Stratfield, 86. So I wanted to know what the values were, like, is the 86 neighborhood less the factor, that number, that one number, is that less or higher? Because it's certainly not in Fairfield Woods. And if the land is calculated into the cost, into her total appraisal, and it's the wrong value, then I'd want to relook at that. I wouldn't be satisfied just letting that go.
I understand. Well, one of the things that you might want to consider is look at some of the appeals that we've had in 85 and also 86, and see if there is a condition factor. What would be the right term? A neighborhood adjustment that is different or the same.
I'll have to find one. I don't know which one I would find, but I'll.
Yeah, well, I mean, just I'm sure of the 650 appeals that we've had, you'll find one or two, and just check the neighborhood adjustment code, because in appeal, well, I'll help you out 50%. In neighborhood 85, the neighborhood adjustment code is 1.270.
I'm going to guess that the Stratfield one is less, but I can't swear to that until I look it up. My guess is based on the location in town, that would be less. And so if that's her number, then that needs to be adjusted, because it's certainly in the wrong neighborhood.
Well, if it's different, then that'll give you some more knowledge and information.
Okay, so then what are we doing with this? Are we voting on it, or are we waiting because the
No,
value?
No, I think you can vote.
I was ready to call the vote, but I saw you had a question, so that's where we were. So,
Okay, well, and then I can always ask to have somebody reopen it if it's going to make a difference in her value.
all those in favor of granting the requested value for this homeowner, please raise your hand. I have 5 in favor. All those and no opposed. The motion is granted unanimously with a vote of 5-0-0. And I see that Alexis has joined us. Hello,
Yes,
Alexis.
hi.
Hi, Alexis.
Hey,
So-
Catherine, good to see you.
We do have 6 appellants. And
Six appellants, no. No, we have 650 appellants, Harold, don't.
Well, we
don't
have
mistake
6
that.
for
yeah, we have 6 people pleading for completing our duties. So we are sort of okay. Kathleen.
Could I sneak in my last condo?
Catherine's gonna do her last condo, or she's probably gonna pull the plug on the rest of us, so yeah.
Okay, that'd be great. Catherine, if you could do your condo, and then I think we'll ask Alexis to delve into hers.
Well, hopefully, okay.
Since you have
appeal
Alexis
number-
now, do you guys need me?
Sorry,
I mean,
Ronnie, what are you saying?
Ronique's
Oh,
bailing.
now that Alexis is here, do you guys need me still, or?
No, you're free to depart if you wish, because we will have a quorum of 5 people. We can continue.
Okay.
Thanks,
Your
Ronique. Appreciate
choice.
it.
Of course. I'll see you guys later.
All right, join us later. Thank you.
Appeal number 219 is for 203 Federal Street, which is in the Somerset condominium complex, right off like Sport Hill Road, Stratfield Road. Okay, so that's the appeal. I spoke with Ed Rodbro as the owner and the appellant, and I will make a motion to reduce the town's value of $533,800 to the appellant's requested value of $512,340. So I will round that to $512,300. Okay, so Mr. Robla, if you go down past his.
We need a motion and a second. You made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Alexis. So if you go down, he does have a lot of verbiage, and then he also puts in this chart. Mr. Robro moved there. It is all the condominiums are pretty consistent. He does back up to the Merit, and where he is the only, like, there's not many that don't have the berm or a privacy fence or something. So he gets a little more Merit noise. His is a 2,100 square foot, 3-bedroom, 3-bath condo. They were all built in 1995. He bought it from an estate in its original condition in 2017, and he was very proud. He paid very low, $390,000 because of that positioning on the Merit, as he said, but he's quite happy. He did a significant analysis of all the sales, all the appraisals. Everything is laid out for all the homes and the appraisals right in that chart. And I know I look at numbers better than I hear numbers. So he is definitely going towards a more consistent appraisal value from the recent sales. So the average sale price for the last 10 that have been sold since he bought is $491,550, and they do range $530, $395, $490, $520. 8 sold between 2019 and 2021 at a high price of $532, down to his at $395. But I'll just rattle off all the sales of these. He does go through them. There's very insignificant differences in the square footages, 60 to 80 square feet. And it's more the location that seems to get a little more money. You know, the further you are away from the Merit is the better. So here's what is sold: 532, 530, 2 at 520, 499, 490, 489. So he thinks that his assessment, because he's the location with the most significant impact of the Merit, that his appraisal is too high, and he is asking for $512,340. $512,340. 300. Sorry, I keep forgetting to drop the $40. My bad. Harold?
This is Harold. I would like to mention that John Spolier has joined our meeting, and that was a few minutes ago. Perhaps we're at
6:02.
6:02. And did you hear this complete appeal?
Most of it, I just need to know the number.
219.
219, okay.
It was 219. So does anyone need more time or any questions or discussion? I'd like to call a vote,
Yeah.
Ben. I'm sorry, did someone speak?
I'm sorry, Harold. I was just going to say he gave us a nice gift because the last one sold for $428, right backing up to the Parkway on 6/12/20. So he's got a very fair number there. I'd be happy to give it to him.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those condos. I've looked myself in terms of thinking about downsizing. Yeah, and location in this loop does matter because of the proximity to either the Merit or other. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting the requested value, please raise your hand. Alexis, it's unanimous. The motion is carried. The appeal is granted. The vote is 6-0-0 to the requested value. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your help, and thank you for letting me finish my condos. I had to get a little rough with Judy, but thank you all. So
Thank you.
I'm here to listen.
Any suggestions from anyone as to where we should go next? Should we bring back to the table, since we have 2 of the hearing officers here? Do that, or should we just dive back into the beachfront properties?
This is Kathleen. I think because the other woman was running out of time and was very stressed, that's why we took her when we took her. But I think the rest of, if there's any of these others, that we should wait until we finish the, the ones we haven't done yet. So, I mean, if Alexis is ready, I would definitely let her go because I know she's got a lot.
All right, Alexis?
I have just a question. I don't know what woman Kathleen is referring to.
I'm sorry. Before you joined, we had a woman who asked us to reconsider her appeal. We decided it the first Saturday that we met. It was a multi-family in the beach, and she contacted the board and said that when her appeal was presented, nobody mentioned the comparable sales when they presented the appeal, and she felt that it was important that the board consider that when they made their decision. So our vote was unanimous to deny, but when she, so we need one person in the majority to motion it to be reconsidered, which happened, and we took a vote on it, and we reconsidered it earlier tonight. To bring it back to the table, you need a majority, you have to have one person motion it to reconsider in the majority. Anybody can second, and then you need to, you vote to reconsider, then you bring it back to the table. So that's what we did with hers. We do have other requests to reconsider, but like I'm saying, I think if we spend all our time reconsidering, we're never going to finish what hasn't been deliberated once yet. So,
Alexis, and by the way, we did vote to grant in part, and the vote was 5-1-0. So we did reverse our initial vote.
What property was that? I'm not, again, I wasn't privy to it, so I don't know even the address.
The address is 256 Pratt Street, but it's decided, and it's favorable to the appellant, so I think we can move on. I do see that Ross has joined us, and so I would like to suggest, before we get started, I mean, is that okay, Alexis? Are you satisfied with that explanation?
Yeah, I can do some. Sure. I just want to understand how many we're reconsidering, if that's been a discussion among the board members.
Well, we do have two others that we are reconsidering. One is the 77 Burrows, and the other one is a One Post Road, a commercial property. But I think I'd like to belay those for now. But I would like, since Ross has joined us, Paulette has asked a question that may have some bearing on some of the other properties that we'll be hearing going forward. So I would ask Paulette, if you're still interested in getting an answer to the question from the assessor's office, would you wish to restate your question for him now?
Sure. Russ, when you value the condos, when you appraise the condos, now when you look at the cards, there's 0 for land, but somebody's got to pay for that land. It's not free. So how do you factor that in? Is that factored into the value of the unit, like divided and spread out amongst the owners, or how does that somehow get accounted for?
Ross, are you on? I should have checked first. This is Harold. Ross? Ross?
Yeah, I'm here. I just had to navigate to the unmute on the screen. So, okay. On a condominium, the land and, if they have tennis courts or a pool or a clubhouse, they're all common elements. And by law, they cannot be taxed separately. So it's inherent in the value of the units. And there's, when you set up a condo, envision the complex will have an adjustment, and then you can have location adjustments within that complex, just very similar to how land is done on residential. So my example is, if you had two very similar complexes next door to each other, and say the units were built identically, but one's got, a gym, a pool, and tennis courts, those units will probably sell for more than the others. And that would be reflected in the complex adjustment.
So it goes into the unit cost, like the dwelling cost, kind of.
Right. It's all in the dwelling.
Okay.
This is Kathleen Ross. Where can you see that on the card, or that's only at a higher level at the in the camera system or vision?
You can see on the back of the card. Did you do one? Do you have one I can pull up by appeal number?
Yeah, let's do appeal number 322. It was right 202 Glengarry. Do you want to do that one or the Federal Street? Either one. Why don't you do the Glengarry one?
I just need to look at a card.
Yeah,
I just need to look at a
322
card
is
so I
one.
can navigate you there.
Appeal 322.
Okay.
Ross.
Yep. So on the back of the card, right above where where you would see the depreciation for the building is condo data. See, there's various adjustments that can be used. Typically, the complex will have an overall adjustment, and then you might have an adjustment for a location or a floor. You know, if you've got units that are stacked, maybe there's a different value for upper versus lower. Sometimes it's front to rear. It could be, you know, entrance unit versus units in the rear of the property, that sort of thing.
So is there anywhere in the card that attributes a portion of the land value to each unit? This
No.
is Harold.
No.
Okay.
So this is Kathleen. So but the neighborhood can't be totally irrelevant to the process, or it is?
I've tried to put the neighborhood code on the card in the front in the landline, but it does not do anything. It's there for reference so that you, if you're doing something in GIS by neighborhood, that the condos don't come up as white blobs on the map. You know, they color in the appropriate location, but it does not have any effect on value, that neighborhood code in the landline.
Okay.
So if you're looking at Glengarry, you can see that there's an adjustment for the type of unit. This one is a Furwick, and that's got a 176% adjustment. And then it looks like the unit, I don't know what that is. I'd have to dig a little deeper. It has no effect. The condo unit being a 2. But the percent adjustments are only relative within the complex.
Okay. Does that adequately answer everyone's questions?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So let's continue then. Alexis, you have some appeals that you want to do?
Yeah, so we have a number from the DiNardo property group who are appealing properties on the Fairville Beach Road area. So we can go to number 552. And that is 1573 Fairville Beach Road. Give me 1 second. Hey, Ross, was this the one that had the appraisal in it? No, that was a different one. Never mind.
No, yes,
So
it was this one. Well, this is the creek. No, this is the beach side, so this has an appraisal. There was no appraisal on the creek side appeal.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So, anyway, so I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of 1.8212 million down to 1.7 million.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. It's John.
Thank you, John.
Okay. So, this is a beachside property. It's an older home that was built in 1934. It was purchased in 2012 by the DiNardo family just prior to Sandy. There's no central air. It's a split system. He said he just felt it's over assessed, and just given that's a very older home, you know, modern buyers just want a lot more, including central air. Just trying to go back to my notes here. This is one of the early ones in March. Just going through it. Yeah, it went up 30%. He didn't really quite understand that. He just felt a lot of the beach area was pretty arbitrarily decided on. For this one, he did not present any comparables. So I don't know if you guys want to bring up the field card and look at it and the other ones that we've seen in the beach area. And I did re-listen to the hearing today, just in case I missed anything, and there were no comps presented on this one.
This Kathleen just has the appraisal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is Harold. He says it went up by what percentage?
I mean, he said cumulatively they all went up basically 30%.
Okay, well, the prior assessment had the value of $1,741,100, and currently it's $1,821,000. So the difference is really what, about $80,000?
Right.
So that's not 30%.
No, he was just I was just jotting down notes, Harold, just from my conversation with him. That was just an anecdote he made about most of the beach area.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For a few. You know, they've owned a lot of property in that area for a long time, and he felt like he has a good feel of the market down there. And again, a super modern house like many that we've seen. It's an older home. Oh, he did know 1883 Fairville Beach Road, which is a very similar size, and it's a much different house, probably more modern. And he just didn't understand the inequity when it came to the assessment.
Does he have central air conditioning?
He does not.
Oh, the card says he does. Yeah, I was just noticing that.
Well, the card is wrong.
Okay, you should take that off.
And there is a picture that indicates on page 19, it's listed as CAC, which I believe is central air conditioning. I don't know if that's what kind of unit that is, but it's designated.
Well, he did say there's a split system.
Okay.
But not. I'm not a building expert. I don't pretend to be one. But he just said due to regulations down there, he can't have a full air conditioning system, so it's split.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, again, this is Harold. You know, $80,000 difference from the prior revaluation period of 5 years ago. And we recognize that beach properties have gone up, it seems to me that the town is in the ballpark of the proper valuation.
Did you look, Harold, at the whole board, I should say, at the comparable that he did present?
I will.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. I did look over that
different.
appraisal, but quite a few of the sales are older sales. They're 2019. One of them, I think, is a 2018 sale. And so, I mean, I can call up a couple sales on the street, but we were looking at some of them last night or over the last couple nights, and there's just a decent amount of sales in that area. I think this does sell with his beach lot, but he paid, I mean, maybe he paid too much, but he paid 2.3 in 2013. And I believe it comes with the lot, you know, the 1574 across the street. But like 1973 Fairfield Beach Road, that's one of the ones that sold for $1.7 million in 2019. So that's an older sale. Again, you would expect those to be higher. And 1360 was a lower one, but that's a much smaller house. And then there's several other beach houses on that side that have sold, you know, higher than his and they don't have a creek property with them. His creek property is what valued, that's on the second landline. His creek property is valued at 86. So, you know, assuming that was in his sale price, it's just hard with that number was it a qualified sale on the card? And again, with the other comps on that street, I pulled a bunch of them up.
Well,
so.
I think Okay, he did note, Kathleen, as I'm sure you heard me, that the house, he referenced 1883, which is a much larger home. And that's selling for less is what he's saying.
That's his other property, the 1883?
I don't know if it's his property or not. It was just one that he mentioned.
Yeah, Betty DiNardo. So I think that's his family's house. Is that that's appraised at 2.6 million though.
Maybe.
Most of the value on that.
He was just, well, excuse me, he was saying it was the same size and it was, anyway, then forget that. comment.
Yeah, well, only because the value on that property, the value's in the dwelling. It's 1.2 for the house, and the land on that one's 1.3. So his land is probably in line. So question is, if they're similar, that's a 0.28 lot at 1.3, and that's valued at 2.6. So, and he's at 1.8, so he's 800,000 less. His house is at 603.
And it looks like according to the appraisal here, it's 1.75 is what the appraisal came out to, and he's asking for 1.7 flat. Correct? That he's asking for 1.7 flat?
Right.
Okay. And the appraisal was right at the beginning of COVID as of 3/26/20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With older sales in it, and yeah, no time adjustment. So.
Anybody need more information or more time? Then I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have 1 in favor, 2 in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I have 4 opposed. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 2 in favor, 4 opposed. Paulette and Alexis voting in favor. Thank you. Alexis, you have another?
Yeah, give me a second, Harold. So this is going to be appeal number 555. This is 1891 Fairville Beach Road. This is another DiNardo home. And so I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of 1.2 million down to the appellant's opinion a fair market value of $950,000.
This is
Kathleen,
John.
I'll
I'll
second it.
second it. Oh,
So as you can see, this is actually just a garage. There was a house there at one point when they first bought the property, but it was washed away with Sandy and they have not rebuilt it. So this is really just used as a garage. You can build a house on this property, but they have chosen not to do that for whatever reason. He did note during our conversation that he noted another property, 1699 Fairfield Beach Road, which is a renovated home, and it's about the same price. And he just didn't quite understand that with given everything that he doesn't even have a house up there. He just has a garage. And the home on 1699 is a very modern, renovated home. And that was appraised at $1.9 million. So he didn't quite understand the rationale when he just has basically a garage. That 1699 property is a much bigger lot, as you can see.
so it looks like in 2015 was when they demoed and then put the garage on it. Is that about right from what you know? Alexis?
Correct.
Okay.
And given that I mean, they're not, they're not making any money off this, I think it's a pretty reasonable request to bring this down to $950,000.
Alexis?
So this is Harold. This is a beachside property. It is, basically the value is in the land. The land is a site index of 5. There's no condition adjustment on it, so it's pretty straightforward. 8,517 square feet at $25.26 per square foot times the neighborhood adjustment. Being waterfront on FB8 brings the land value to the 1.2 million 10. And I guess looking at other land values of similar size would be a good indication of whether or not this is priced appropriately or valued.
And I imagine, and I imagine if this property was washed away during Sandy, I imagine this would be a very expensive property to insure.
Yes, Catherine.
Two questions. One, which just escaped me, but the other one is he had appeal. Oh, how did he come up with the 950,000 that he's requesting? And two, it looks like he appealed to Superior Court in 2016 and there was a court decided change made. Do you know what that was?
No, I don't.
And you don't know how he came up with
He came up with the number, Catherine, just based on his knowledge of the beach. He and his family, they've owned a number of properties over the years for some time. And this is kind of what he does. He just felt that was a very fair price based on that he doesn't even actually have a property there to rent.
So what I do notice is that the previous assessment in 19 is pretty much when you divide it by 70%, that's 945. So he's asking 5,000 for it to be lowered to $5,000 more than what his previous assessment was in that. And I'm wondering if
that
that
makes sense. So he's looking to stay the same and not go
yes.
up. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for that. That's good. Good deduction. Holmes.
Very good.
And I'm assuming that probably whatever was done was an override. And that's why, and the override came off this session, and that's why, or this evaluation period. So that's probably why there was a huge jump.
Do overrides get go to court for that? Like, will they do that in court, or is it something else? Ross would know. He goes with the attorney.
Is that a question for Ross?
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, when I guess the question will be to Ross.
And you're asking how do overrides get on the property?
No, what I'm saying is, an override is something that you can do, and maybe it wasn't done in 2015 or whatever, and that's why he went to court. But is that usually what happens when they go to court? They just, are they going for an override, or are they going for something larger?
An override, this is Ross, an override is just the mechanism we use to plug in a value that's, typically most court appeals end up as stipulated judgments, which just means that we've both agreed to some value to settle a case. They don't usually go to trial and have a judgment. So when we come up with a, some number in between, typically, it just needs to be plugged in, and that's how it's done.
Do we know what happened in 2015?
That was before my time.
Is there any way to look it up?
This probably not. We don't retain records that long.
Probably the Superior Court does.
Yeah, you could probably look up the stipulated judgment, but all it will say is the parties agreed, basically agreed to this value, and it's going to stay until the next revaluation, or there's some other lawful change, like they renovate or tear something down.
Yes, Kathleen, you're mute.
Looking at land value, like 1505 Fairfield Beach Road sold in like October this year for $1.5 million, and then again for $1.3 million. I don't know why the transfer, but it was a tear down on the beach. And so basically, you know, that sort of shows what the land value is exactly, you know, 0.20 acres, which is the same size as his property. So I just don't see his value supported in what he's requesting. You know, not with land sales in the 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 for, you know, 0.2 acre lots with waterfront in the beach. Unless he has some other conditions that he's not telling us about, but, you know, I think that garage looks a lot like, you know, the family garage, so they may be using that on a separate lot. Not that that matters. I'm just saying it has.
They are using it for another purpose. I mean, they're using it for other.
Yeah, but still the land value, I mean, the value's in the land. So if we're going to take him down, we're going to take a ding on it. You know, we're going to have to take his land down. He's doing everything else there. So I just don't think he made his case, not with those land sales right around him. The FB8 land sales.
Are we on the Gold Coast? Yeah, let me know when we hit the Gold Coast. They don't know where it is.
The Gold Coast?
I think Mr. Fazio's cute little description of part of the beach is that it's the Gold Coast. So I don't know what address.
That's odd numbers 191 to 487.
191 to 487?
Yep, and it's the odd numbers.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you.
I'm just, I'm not quite grokking Kathleen your logic here. I think I think a home has value to it, and there's no home there. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Paulette. I mean, I don't think a land could have that much value.
Well, this is Harold. As we've heard, there are other parcels of land that are tear downs or vacant that were priced higher. So it doesn't seem to me that getting down to a value that's lower than the prior value in the prior revalue period is justified.
I'm not, Harold, I wasn't going there, but I'm just wondering now that Kathleen said that house was torn down. But I want to know, what I would want to know is, was it a tear down? The fact that they chose to tear it down is their business. But was it really a tear down? What? Pardon me?
I mean, it was washed away during Sandy.
No, not the subject. Kathleen was just quoting where somebody purchased it and then they tore the house down. But when we talk about that, you have to talk about, was that house really a tear down? Because if it truly was a tear down, then the land is the whole value. If it wasn't, if they just chose to do it because they had the money to do it and they wanted a newer house, that's a whole different thing.
Let's not guess. I mean, pull up the card for that address and see how much is the house and how much is the land.
And this is Kathleen. The dwelling's at 61, and the land on that sale is 1.2 million. It may be torn down now. The picture may be older, but the land was a 1,215,000 appraised by the town, and the dwelling was at 61,000. It is a 1930s, cottage with no heat, no air conditioning, coal or wood heat. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1 half bath. It's one of those very small, non-FEMA compliant beachfront homes. So somebody bought it I'm guessing for the land, they bought it for the land, and it's 1,000 square foot cottage, and it got torn down. And they paid 1.5 in October, and then I don't know why it sold again for 1.3. They're both unqualified sales, but it looks like Sand Dollar does a lot of development down there. So that's what the builder may just be moving it. I don't know the reason for the $200,000 difference, but both of those are high dollars. And there's other ones down there too. That's not the only tear down. That's just one that that's a recent one that I came across in the sales data.
Okay.
I mean, I'm ready to vote. I don't know about everybody else, but.
Do we have any other properties that anyone could find where the similar land size is valued at less or significantly less or more? We've seen more. I don't know if there's going to be less, but we've voiced our thoughts, and we've had some discussion. If there's no further discussion or questions, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I have 4 opposed. The motion is denied. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 2 in favor, Alexis and Paulette in favor, and 4 opposed. Thank you.
Could I make a request that I'm going to take a dinner break now? Does anybody else need a dinner break before they wash away? No?
I would like to take a dinner break, let's say 7:15, if no one's opposed, but go ahead and have a nice dinner.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you. Okay, Alexis, would you like to continue, please?
Let me bring up my notes. What am I doing? So I'm going down to 556. This is another Gennardo property, 1896 Fairville Beach Road. So I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of $1.168 million down to $800,000.
This is Harold. I'll second. What was the appeal number again?
556 rather.
Thank you.
Right, this is a Creekside property, right? It's a PC4.
So the property was, so based on what Mr. Gennardo was saying, the house is highly unusual, as you can see in the picture. It's actually only 10 feet wide on the 2nd floor. It's kind of a interesting house. It does have a dock. I know we had a pretty spirited discussion on docks last night. It's on an existing non-conforming lot. It has 1 bedroom. The card does say it has 2.5 baths, but it only has 2 baths. And again, the 2nd floor is just 10 feet wide, 9 feet high. And he just felt recent sales in the area was similar money, have conforming lots, and a lot of them are much different and much more conventional. He did cite 1800 Fairville Beach Road, for example, which is a newly renovated house, 2-car garage. I think it's 4 parcels there, and that was appraised at $1.3 million. He was just giving me that as comparison. This isn't a very deep lot. Again, it's just a kind of unconventional home, and he just felt it was overassessed.
So Alexis, I'm looking at the building permit records section, and it looks like.
Hey, John, can you just put that in the chat so we can all have access to that?
What's that?
Can you just put that link in the chat so we can
No,
all...
I'm looking at the field card. Sorry, the building
field
permit
card.
record on there. And it looks like it was completed on October 1st of 2018. So it's about 3 years old or so, 4 maybe. So it's a fairly new building.
This is Harold. I was a member of the board at the time when this house came to us in 2018. And we did make an adjustment because it was incomplete. It was still under construction. And now it is complete. And so it has the full value. So there was an adjustment made previously, but then that changed as a result of the completion of the construction. So just want to point that out.
Looks like, Harold, in the notes there, that it was at 85%. Or was it U/C? Is that uncompleted or at 85% or updated?
This is Ross. That's under construction.
Under construction.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Also, you mentioned that there's 1 bedroom, but the card says 2 bedrooms.
Yes.
No, I think it was the baths. Did
No,
you say
Kathleen, no, said 1 bed. I said
Sorry,
1 bedroom.
it said 2.5 baths and there's only 2. Okay.
There's 2.5 baths, but there's 2 bathrooms, and he said there's 1 bedroom.
One bedroom.
So, this is Harold. Ross, was there an inspection to determine what is actually in the home?
We were denied an inspection. This property is under appeal currently for the prior grand list, and we've asked for an inspection and so far been denied. So it was sketched from plans.
This is Harold. So there were plans that were presented that you based your description on?
Yeah, when there's new construction, we typically get a copy of the plans from the building department and usually do our initial sketch work from those before we inspect the property.
So it's not very helpful if the appellant does not allow an inspection to verify their claim to the number of bedrooms, because all you have to go on is the plans that were presented for the construction. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. So, I mean, I think
it's always better.
They're doing themselves a disservice.
It's always better if we can inspect a property.
Of course, of course.
But
So,
most of the properties, this is Alexis speaking, were not inspected inside, right? During this appeal process?
as Ross said, this is under appeal and an inspection was denied. So it's a different set of parameters.
But I was asking another question. I mean, but no one else had the pleasure of having people inspect the inside, right?
Yeah, this is Ross. We're required to inspect properties once every 10 years. That was done in the prior reval in 2005. And any house that's having renovation or new construction, we do inspect.
Okay. When were you denied inspection, Ross? What year?
I believe it was last year.
During COVID?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have let you in either. He has every right not to let somebody in his house during a pandemic. So I wouldn't, he refused. I would say that he refused during a pandemic situation, which is understandable. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't let you in if that wasn't the case. So most people did not let him in their houses during that time. So I'm a factor in this decision.
This is Harold. This building is across the street from his main residence. It's predominantly used as a garage and excess housing. I don't know that it's rented or not, but it's certainly excess rooms. And it's owned by the same property owner that lives across the street. There would have been no health reasons. I mean, we've had people come in for hearings to the town hall with proper protections and procedures. I can't say, and I don't know if anyone on the board can say, if the reason that he did not allow an inspection in the house was due to concerns about COVID.
But no,
he did come in for hearings during the COVID pandemic.
they came to you. They didn't let you in their house. It's different.
I don't see that being the reason for refusing to enter the home. Now, it may be, it may not be, but nobody knows for sure.
Right, that's true. No one knows for sure. So we need to take that issue off the table.
I don't think that is the reason why we can't verify if it's 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom. So I have to stick with what we do know, and that is that the plans say that there were 2 bedrooms in the construction plan.
Can I make another point during my appeal, please?
Pardon?
I wanted to make another point here, another property that he
Yes.
pointed out to during my conversation. And again, I don't know what he does with the property, what he doesn't do with the property. I don't think that's for us to know. It's not relevant. I don't know why that's even brought up. I can't guess. You can't guess. We have to stop guessing here. So 1790 Fairville Beach Road. Again, that's a. Bring it up really quickly.
You said 1790 Fairfield Beach Road?
Fairfield Beach Road, and that has an easement to the beach. He mentioned. He said that was, see my notes. It's 2,700 square feet, has a dock easement to the beach. He felt that was something we should look at as well.
Are we doing something with this appeal to go to another appeal? This is Harold speaking.
No, I think the 1790 was a comp.
Well, it's just
that-
another house that he pointed out, I said.
Okay.
which
all
was
right.
sold for 1.2 million in May of 18. It looks like on the field card.
And again, it's a more, conventional home. I think it's about 2,700 square feet, has a dock, easement to the beach. It's probably a lot better than this house, which is a little unconventional, just based on the second floor.
He's got a dock as well, right? Looks like he's got
I
it.
said
Or
that.
he's being taxed
He has
on
a
a dock.
I think we put way too much value on these docks because you can only use them for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening or the afternoon. This isn't like you just put the boat in the water and take off for the day anytime you feel like it. So I don't see why we just keep talking about these docks like they're worth so much money when it's a nice convenience, and yes, it's nice to have, but for very, very limited use.
So this is Harold. He believes that 1790 is a comp that should be considered. Is that where we're at with this?
I feel like it was a comp per se, but it was a house that has a lot more niceties than his second floor, which is only 10 feet wide. And it has a dock, has a easement to the beach, which he doesn't have on this property. And he does. I think he does. Wait.
Were there any other comps besides that one that were presented?
No, that was the only two that he mentioned, 1790. And
This is Kathleen. There's a couple in the sales data. If you want to call him up, 1492. What number is he? 1890. He's higher. 1492 was a land sale for 800,000 on the creek side. It's a little bit bigger lot, 0.29, has a condition factor of 0.05 on it. I think he does have a 0.9 on his property. So that was an $800,000 land sale. And then there was a sale February 8th of 2021 for 2.1 million on the creek. The bigger house, though, it's 4,000 square feet on a smaller 0.12 acre lot. So that's another $2.1 million sale. That are, again, PC4s, because those are the water, right? The water part of the creek, not the WP4s. So, the land value at 800. Again, this is Kathleen. I can't bring it to, if there's a land sale around that value, I just can't, I can't see bringing him to 800 when he's got this brand new, structure across the, there.
yeah, but it's not a regular construction. It's not.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. I know. I saw it. I walked by it. I know there's a few of them there that are very close to the road on the creek side. There's not a lot of land there. Some of them are set better on the properties than other ones are, but he still has a very big structure on the creek side. And he won't let us in to take a look at the inside, or, if you want to.
Well, it was during a global pandemic. It was a global pandemic. I mean, I wouldn't have anybody in my house either.
Invite everybody in a global pandemic. That's a good idea.
I mean, come on.
If it's on, this is Kathleen, if it's under construction, no one's living there. So anyway, I won't, at 800.
Not under construction.
I'm ready to vote if that's,
I've been ready to vote for a while because I see that the value is there in the land.
Mhm.
And the statements that were made are questionable. So certainly he can come back next year when there is less threat of pandemic, God willing, and he can allow an inspection and adjustments can be made at that time. So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor, opposed. 3 opposed. No abstentions. The motion is, the appeal is not granted. The motion is denied. The vote is 2 in favor, 3 opposed. Paulette and Alexis voting in favor.
And just for the record, the town never should have let people come for an appeal during a pandemic in person. That was totally wrong, totally against health code regulations, CDC guidelines, but they let them do it anyway. They shouldn't have. That never should have happened.
Alexis, you have another?
Seem to be doing great so far. Anybody else have any more to do, or is it just me, Harold?
You had, we had a discussion and you said you might want to hand off some to Paulette. And I don't.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I think I don't need that
All
to be
right.
done.
Well, I would say that since you are the one who heard most of these appeals, it would be important for anyone who's taking over any of your appeals that they do listen to the hearing and that they do invest the time to look at the documentation that was made available so that they can present when they're ready to present as informed as possible. Just want to say that should be your prerequisite.
Thank you. Okay, so we will go to appeal number 554. That is 1883 Fairville Beach Road. And again, this is another DiNardo property.
Oh, let's see.
So I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of $2 million to $2.2 million, which is the appellant's opinion of fair market value.
Is there a second?
Kathleen, I'll second it.
Thank you.
So, okay, in this one, the appellant felt the town had put up 25%, had increased the by 25%.
This is Harold.
The land
Alexis,
value
I'm
didn't
sorry
go
to
up,
say
but
that your voice is breaking up a bit. So could you please repeat what you were saying?
Beach Road, the floodplain, it's very expensive to insure, and he just felt it was overvalued.
So I do see on the card here that there was a court decision in 2016. So I'm wondering if it went up again because they entered the court decision as an override and that came off this time around.
Do you want to address that question, John, to?
I can address it to Ross if Ross, if you know anything about this court decision, but again, it was for the 2015 grand list, which I think was, and the entry went in December 21st of 16. So I'm assuming that you're unfamiliar with this, that it was before your time.
Yeah, this is Russ. I can look and tell you what. Let's see if we have something that would have.
Alexis, were there any comps provided
No.
for this? Nothing? Okay.
I nothing jumps out as to like I'm looking for overrides and I don't see anything right off the bat here.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone need any more time?
I mean,
Any
without
further-
any comps or any information, about what happened last time and why it went down and what their appeal was, other than, they feel it's overvalued. I don't know if I can support this. Actually, I can't support this.
I will call a vote then. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $2.2 million, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. 3 opposed. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 2 in favor, Alexis and Paulette in favor, and 3 opposed. The motion fails. The appeal is not granted. Okay, Alexis?
I'm gonna pull up another one. I think there's one more from the DiNardo family. There's a whole bunch here.
Thank you.
I think it's 553.
What, Kathleen?
Is it 553? I'm just looking at the contact name. I see DiNardo in the contact column.
553?
Yeah, I think that's their Creekside lot for 1573.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the paperwork in the file, and I think we still have the one from Harold in there. We have the 207 Puritan Road is in the file. Do you guys see that?
This is Kathleen. I think it's gone now, but all I see is a field card.
Okay, maybe I have to refresh. Okay.
Yeah, if it's been removed, yeah, your browser will hold it.
Yeah, this is Ross. Alexis, you emailed me.
Yeah.
Right around 5 o'clock, and I deleted those docs.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, for some reason, it's still coming up with the old data. Okay. Okay, so this is again appeal number 553, and this is garage. The town has valued at $86,000. I'd like to make a motion to bring it down to the appellant's opinion, a fair market value of $50,000. Similar thinking, it's obviously he felt was over assessed. The two-car garage.
This is Harold. I'll second the motion.
It's not a legal building lot. It's non-conforming lot. He didn't really quite understand how it could just double. He couldn't figure it out. That's really the extent of what he said.
Anyone need more time?
How did it double?
I don't know if it did double. It might have gone up 50%.
It went up. I mean, it went up over 50%, I think. Didn't quite double, but
The land went up.
Yep. This is Kat. These are these creekside lots, right, that sell only with the main property. So it's really hard to figure out what they are. So they're all pretty sweet. They're all valued pretty similarly. And then the structures on them are valued according to the structure, assuming it's only like a garage. It's like, it's like his neighbors are all like that. They're all similar.
It does go along with 1573 Fairville Beach Road, which is a two-story
Yeah, you
colonial.
can't-
It's appealing that
can't
as well.
I don't remember what we did with the one with the Grauer property. They had a garage, although they had two cars. It's a 3-car. I'm not questioning the structure. I don't remember how big the lot was, but that was, I think that went down in price. We reduced the value of that one. I don't remember what we brought it to though.
That was reduced. The vote was 3 in favor, 2 opposed. And that was reduced. The appeal was granted at that time based upon that vote. So this is another one that we're voting on.
Kathleen, we did some last night as well. We've been doing more of them, so.
Yeah. I was just wondering what we took that one down to, because I don't remember. Because I don't remember the size of the lot, so it might not be appropriate to.
We did take it down to the requested value.
And that was, I don't remember if that was in the 50s, maybe it was 58,000. I can't even remember.
No, it was in the 70s.
It was in the 70s.
Yes,
Can't find it fast enough, so.
well, it was.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to call a vote on this one unless there's further comment or discussion. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. Yes, I see your hand. I have 2 in favor. Opposed? 3 opposed. The appeal is not granted. The motion is denied. The vote is 2 in favor. Alexis and Paulette in favor, and 3 opposed. Okay, thank you.
Catherine's back on. If Harold, you want to take your dinner break? I'll be happy to hop in.
The dinner bell has not rung, so I'm going to wait 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Alexis,
Yes.
please.
All right. Let's go across the street to 1573 Fairville Beach Road. And this is appeal number 552.
Did we already do that one?
We did that.
We did do that one. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think you're out of Donardo's.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it. I am out of Donardo's. So how about I take a quick break, and does Catherine have any to do, or?
Catherine's still eating dinner, but no, Drew.
Catherine's still eating dinner.
No,
Okay, no
if you
problem.
still-
I can.
Miss Kathleen, I have two at the beach as well that I can do at some point, so.
Great.
But we'll do them.
You want me to do them? Okay, so let me just, I might need a minute to find them, but they're here somewhere. Let me see. And we could use Ross's help for this one because this was the condo. These are condos on the beach. This is one of the condos. So we'll do appeal number 503, which is 1657 Fairfield Beach Road. The owner of the property is Joanne Landino. The town has the property valued at $3,326,600, and they're requesting a reduction to $1,875,000. And I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's appraised value to the requested value of $1,875,000.
This is Harold. I'll second it.
So this is So Paul Landino was the authorized agent on behalf of his wife for this property. Was built in 2000. Let me call it the field card because I haven't looked at it in a bit, but I'm happy to get them off my plate. So give me 1 second here. I want to quote the wrong dates. Call up the card. So this is a FEMA compliant condo. Oh, no, is it? No, it isn't. Sorry. This is a condominium built in, am I struggling today? 2015 post Sandy. So it is on the beachside and it's part of a condo. So there is no landline for this property. And the appellant just believed that it was a mistake in the appraisal because he jumped so much from 2000, from the last reval until this one. I believe Ross can weigh in on this, but I think it was because the land was not included in the condominium for some reason when the condo was calculated. And so that's why the town's amount jumped so much on the property. He didn't provide like specific comparable sales. He just said he thinks it was a mistake. And he did a lot of square footage calculations that the 2020 median price was $308 a square foot. And if this was assessed correctly, the market value would be $940 a square foot. He said he believes the retail value is about 1.8 million, where it would sell between $450 and $550 a square foot. And he did some averages of some 2020 sales and came up, oh, that's the Creekside, because we talked about both properties together. So again, and so he said it really should be considered like a house because it is, for all intents and purposes, a house. And so I asked Ross to put a card together to make it look like a house, and that should be in the backup down below. So then you could see how the landline would break out, how the house would break out. Well, it's approximately a quality 12 or a quality 12 home on that card. So I think that's the best way of looking at, try to compare it. And maybe Ross can speak to how the condos, work, but it says sample on it. So don't look at the picture, just look at the numbers on the card. So I said it wasn't easy to convert it back to a condo, but based on that, he came to a value of approximately 3.4 million.
And I would use that card as a guide, not as this is what it would be if it was converted back to residential. It's just a rough estimate.
So he actually went up $100,000.
Right. So that was he just said, consider it that way. So that's why I figured, well, let's at least see what happens to get the condo out of there in case there's an issue with how the condo lines are working or the calculations are working. So you can, see a separate landline. So, approximately the land looks about what we typically see for that size. Again, and I think, Ross, you tried to estimate the size of the lot, right? By looking at his neighbor's lot, I think.
Yes, I used the neighbor's lot, and I also, did a GIS measurement. I could not find a map or anything to give me a really good land value, but that lot is pretty comparable to the lot next door in size, so it should be pretty close.
Right. So that's it converted over. And then, like I said, he really didn't give me, other than to say there's no way that, that it must be a mistake and that it should be valued at around $550 a square foot in the house. And that's how he came up with his $1.8 million price. I think there may be a list of some sales in there, Southport market snapshots, what was going on in the real estate market. Again, the square footage was done, the average square footage was done from a couple of other homes, the 683 Fairfield Beach Road and 685, to come up with his square footage numbers that he used.
This is Paulette. I have a question. So now that we've done that and we heard Ross did all that work and we heard him explain it to us, perhaps you can invite Mr. Landino to come and talk to us about why he thinks his property is worth what it is, to rebut the town's description of what would happen if. Again, I have no problem asking Ross questions. I think it's great. We let him just go on and give his whole presentation of what it would be. So he's now presenting an appeal and testifying. Not acceptable. So I want Mr. Landino to come back and have the same opportunity. I know I won't get it, but I just want it on the record that I asked for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Kathleen. I don't think he made his case by providing, comparing himself to some of the other $3 million sales in the beach area. Why he's higher or lower than some of the other homes. He said my house, looks like a house and it's very similar to that. So I don't know, if it's because it's a condo, does that drive the value up or down? And is that reflected in the town's value? It's just really hard. There's not a lot of other condos down there to compare it to. And so he did it based on square footage.
And I'm not saying that he made his case. That's not my issue. My issue is Ross made his case for the second time. This guy got one shot. He deserves another shot.
This is Harold.
I'm sorry, I'm still talking. You allow the town to do it, you should allow the appellant to do it too. Otherwise, it's an unfair advantage, 2 bites of the apple, and it's wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
I that. I'll have him come back though.
This is Harold. So the assessor has not taken additional bites out of any apples.
Yeah,
The
just took one.
assessor has come up with a value. The appellant has had an opportunity at the hearing to present his case. If he's dissatisfied with our decision, he has further opportunities to go before the state court and plead his case. And if he's denied, then he has the right to come back next year and plead his case again. We are not required to have appellates come back again during the deliberation period to restate their reasons for their appeal.
But you let Ross present a whole thing of what it would be like if it was a single family. The whole purpose of
This is Kathleen, because he asked us to consider it like it was.
I thought we weren't talking over each other anymore. Or am I the only one that gets yelled at for that?
Well, no, Paulette, you have to call your name and then you will be recognized. This is Harold
Okay,
speaking.
this is Paulette. Do I get recognized now?
What do you think?
Okay, I think yes. So I'll go on. So my point is, the whole presentation of that was for what point? The point to show us, that's whole point of that is to show us that actually if he was a single family, his property would be worth more. So we should be happy that it's worth less. There was no reason for that whole presentation. Ross it's not his job and it's not appropriate for him to be giving us presentations on people's property like that. When you do that, it is a second bite at the apple and the appellate deserves it. I'm not saying we're required to give it to him, but if you're going to give it to one, we all say, let's treat everybody the same. Now we're not treating everybody the same. We're treating the town differently. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. I don't know why you just can't understand that and why you refuse to see it. It's blatant. And it's wrong.
Okay. This is Harold. Can I speak?
Yes,
Ross was responding to a question that was made by a board member, and we all have the rights to ask questions of the assessor as board members. And it was asked in the proper format of a request to the assessor, and the assessor was responding to the question that was asked. It's as simple as that.
It's Paulette. May I just answer one more time and I'll be done? That's very
Please
nice,
do.
Harold. You're right. It was done as a question, but how stupid do you think I am that I haven't realized all through this process that these little questions turn into this kind of an answer? Yes, you can ask a question. You ask them to do something which requires a big explanation. Other people ask questions. It's boom, boom, boom. That's the answer. Fine. It does not involve another explanation on the town's part. This did. I mean, you think I'm really that dumb that I haven't seen that go on for the last 3 weeks? The way you ask questions, quote unquote. Tell you what, I've never seen anything like this. 4 years on this behavior. I just don't get it, and I never will. We're almost done. I can't wait for it to be over.
I would like to call a vote.
Harold, I'd like to add, I just want to add one thing. So I did look for comps. I expected it to come back lower, so it did not. It came back higher. That was my request, and he said it is like a beach house. He asked us to look at that. But there was a sale on December, so I went and looked to make sure that, to see if there were other sales. December 14th, 2020, a non-FEMA compliant home at 1641 Fairfield Beach Road sold for $3.2 million. Similar size lot to his house, not FEMA compliant, built in 2000, so it's older than his. Similar square footage, 4,800 square feet, and it sold for, like I said, $3,248,000, and the town had it, a little lower at $3,161,000. So that just gave, that also shows another sale. He didn't bring me sales, but that's a sale of a neighboring home, it right close to his house, and it sold in the low threes. So
I wasn't arguing this. I'm not arguing the value. I'm not saying he has made his case. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that the procedure of what just happened is inappropriate and it's wrong. And it should have stopped a long time ago, and it didn't. So this to me requires investigation. I can't go on and watch this for another 3 days and just sit quietly.
Then, Paulette, I think you should disregard the information that was presented by the assessor and make your judgment and vote accordingly, disregarding anything that the assessor has presented.
And thank you, Harold. I can do that. I'm not sure that everybody else will. It's like when you go to court and you can't unhear what you heard. That's the point.
Well, I'm not a mind reader either, and that's, if you're going to use the example of a court, that's what a judge says when he gives instructions to the jury, so that when they do their deliberations, they will not take that into consideration. They've already heard it, that's true, but it can't be considered as part of their argument. So I suggest that you disregard it and vote accordingly. So I would like to call a vote. All those in favor of grant, yes, Catherine.
And I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up the 1641 sale for the 3,200,000, and Realtor is giving me price unavailable, and it's also listed as 1641 and 1640. So is this one of those that it has the additional creek property? And does the subject property not have that?
this is Kathleen. Yeah, the subject property is a condo. So the condo is a separate entity across the way. So it does not have, that's correct. It does not have, because it doesn't have any rights. Because it's a condo. That's right. Yeah. I don't know about the 1657 sale. I didn't look it up. I just was looking for something, similar age, non-FEMA compliant on the water. So I don't know how big the lot, if the 1641 has a $500,000 house on it or has something smaller. You're right. I did not look at that.
Okay.
I looked at the value of this dwelling on that one is 1.9 million. The dwelling value is similar once it's broken out.
Assessment wise, but it looks like I was just, okay. So we don't know that
I'm not
it's
sure
listed.
that he's not too, I don't know that he's correct. He does have very nice finishes on the outside, and the water can go through it. There's a lot of features on that home if he's a quality 12 construction. But I just felt like, I don't want to try to name something for him in that price range without, especially since it's a condo.
All right,
And
I'd like to call a vote.
Similarly.
Oh, sorry, Kathleen, you're still speaking.
How many other units are there in the condo, and have any of those? So there's 2 condos in the development.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Kathleen, and he bought them together. His son, the other one are in his son's name. He was very, he serves on one of our boards. Very nice. He's a very nice gentleman, and we had a very nice conversation about these. He just, because I believe the land value was not in either one of these 2 properties previously. During the reval, they caught that and added the land value, and that is why his assessment went up so much. And it's difficult to take a look at the property because they are condos, but he said he bought them as condos, you know, and he didn't see a reason to separate them or not because he owns both of them. So he didn't change it when they purchased it. And, you know, since they're owning both of them, they're not sharing, you know, beach rights or, you know, anything with, I mean, there may be a right of way because of the other condo, but right now he, you know, I didn't research the deeds. We didn't really,
And
he and I didn't get into
it's
that.
not going to have a line broken out for it, but how much land are they on?
That's what Ross tried to estimate it. It's by looking at the neighbors because you kind of can't tell. So I think, what'd you say, Ross, 11,000 square feet or 10,000, 9,000? We went back and forth a little bit on what that.
I believe this is Ross. I believe it's, you know, probably between 11 and 12,000.
For each condo?
No,
No,
that's
the
just for the
beachfront
side
piece.
portion.
Hence why it was maybe condominiumized. Okay. Okay. They are complicated at those. They're very unique, every one of these properties.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to call the vote. All those in favor of granting the appeal to the requested value of 1.875 million dollars. Raise your hand. I have one in favor. Opposed? Four opposed. Abstentions? One abstention. Thank you. The appeal is not granted. The vote is one in favor, Alexis, four opposed, and one abstention, Paulette. Thank you. I'm going to take a 15-minute or so break. We have a quorum to continue, so Kathleen, can I hand over the chair to you?
Sure. Or John, if he's not, well, John's got one. So Alexis, do you want to go back or do you want me to do the, I might as well do the associated condo with this if everybody's okay with that. And then Mr. Landino will have his decision on both properties. Sure. Is that okay? All right. So I'm going to do appeal number 502. The property address is 1662 Fairfield Beach Road. The town has a value on the property of $539,200, and the appellant was requesting a reduction to $400,000. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the appraised value to $400,000. I just need a second.
This is John. I'll second.
John seconded it. So again, he came in, this particular property is in his son's names, but he was the authorized agent on behalf of his sons. And this is, if you call up, let me just call it up too so I can, got it. This is the condo that I'm talking about that was on the, that's on the opposite side of the property. I mean, from the appeal we just did, it's on, I think about, again, we can't tell how much land it's on. So similar to the last one, I asked Ross to estimate what it would, you know, be like if it was a single family residence on the creek side. So there is a card in the file that would show approximate value on the creek side. Let me, all right, so it's very hard to tell with these condos, but it's a 3-car garage and there is living space above it, 936 square feet finished up above. And it has 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It is, again, it's a condo. And I think, is there a, again, I don't know if they have a dock. I'm not even sure where that would show up, but I don't think there is.
I'm sorry, what's the appeal number again? Sorry.
Sure, it was number 502.
502, great, thank you.
And in this one, you know, he said it's a 3-car garage with 936 square feet above. And again, he was, you know, he was concerned about the amount of the increase. And I believe it was, again, because it was not considered the land was not considered when the value was calculated last time around. He said that he followed, Zillow a lot for property resale values on that one. He has been tracking it, and Zillow seemed to show values between, 330 and 373. He hasn't put any improvements into the property. We also talked about inflation in the last 5 years, and that inflation is about 11%. So he would expect, his assessed value not to be higher than about $250,000. So again, it's a unique property. So he couldn't really find any comparable sales, with 3-car garages and apartments on top. And again, we talked a little bit about the median square footage as being about $265 a square foot. And so he came to a value of 400 based on that calculation. So, and then again, the card, the sample card is in there, using what we have typically used for a house on the creek side, approximately what it might have been, 0.06 acres, so the land value. And then the dwelling value, again, if it was not a condo, at least according to the CAMA system, it valued out at around 758 land and dwelling. So, Catherine has a question.
This was said it was built in 2001, 2002. I did not realize that we could have another additional. I thought 1997 prohibited the amendments, the regulations prohibited detached accessory structures. They weren't even allowed to have heating, lip, or indoor plumbing. And this isn't even a structure. This is actually a dwelling. So we assume that he got a variance.
No, it was a condoized. I looked at the deed quickly. It turned into a condo, I think in 1978. So a long time ago, they made it a condo property. And so I think when that happened, perhaps all the rules changed. Yeah, so he purchased it like that. It was deeded that, he purchased both of them together from the same owner. But there's a couple of them down on the beach there where they've taken several properties and turned them into condos on the beach and creek side. And this is one of them.
Well, they have made very profitable use of that land. So I'm going to say right away that to me, that shouldn't even be there. I mean, there's a lot of legalese that allowed it to be there. So I think it's a veritable bargain at the town's valuation. So I'm going to be that's just where I'm going to lay that line down.
Any other questions or discussion? Nope. If not, I'll call for a vote. I'm not used to being chair here, sorry. So all those in favor, raise your hand. And I don't have everybody on my screen, sorry. I probably should let John do it if he's available.
Alexis is for. So we have 1 for and Paulette is for. Okay.
Yep.
So we have 2 for. All opposed, raise your hand. We have 3 opposed and no abstentions. So the motion fails. 2 votes in favor, 3 against. Those voting for Paulette and Alexis.
You're really good, John.
I was just going to say, he really didn't even stumble over any of those. Very good, John.
Thank you.
It's a little practice, but Alexis, do you want to go next? Or I know John has one commercial left. I don't know if we want him to take care of it. We did get an answer and then he can be done. Second to Ronique, or someone else is chasing him. Up to you.
Yeah, I have a few more that I can do tonight. I'll defer to John for now.
Okay. All right. It'll allow anybody listening from the beach to go grab some water or something. Okay, so I would like to represent appeal number 433. The property address is 59 Post Road. The owner is 1 Post Road Fairfield, LLC. The appellant on behalf of the property owner was Chris Russo. The town has a value of $740,800,000, and I'd like to make a motion that we grant the requested value and reduce the town's value to 300,000.
Catherine will second.
Thank you. Okay. So, when we last left off, well, actually, I should probably do the summary here. So, this was vacant land. It's a vacant land. The building was torn down. It was hard to get comps. The comp that's in the file that was used was 42 Elliott, which is being assumed that it will be torn down. That building will be torn down when the barber shop closes. The land value is 0.9K, and is smaller. At one point, they were looking into consolidating with the office building next door because the one at One Post Road is owned by the same company. It does have a sewer easement. If you look in the file, you will see that there is a sewer that runs through the property. Attorney Russo said that they can't build on it, and if they did build on it, they would need to do pilings as it is in a coastal area. Again, going back to the comp of 42 Elliott, that is closer to downtown and closer to highway access than the property that is being appealed right now. Currently, the 2015 assessment is being appealed in court, but that shouldn't have a bearing on our decision on this appeal. He made a comment that commercial properties went down while residential properties went up with COVID. Now, so that's the summary of the appeal. Where we debated about was we wanted to know about the building lot and could it be built on, if it could be built on, what was there, or, what would need to be done, etc. So I believe in the file, what we did here are, was it, Kathleen, who did you go to? Was it zoning?
This is Kathleen. Yeah, I went to Emmeline in zoning, and her
Emmeline.
email is on page 9 of the file.
Okay. So if you look at that, basically what the email states is that they actually did apply for some type of housing permit there, and that they did get the variance for it, but they haven't done anything with it, with the property. They can build over the sewer line. It just is that they would need to have it accessible. So I could see the part about the pilings being correct, that they would either need to have some kind of piling or open structure underneath so that it could get to that as well. But as you can see, again, starting on page 9, they had a plan for a 20-unit multifamily apartment that was approved for the site, and they just need to have access to that sewer easement with, open first floor parking.
So can they pave that, or they have to leave it in as dirt parking lot?
That's a good question, but I think they could pave it. They would just have to tear up the pavement to get to it if they needed to, I would think. I don't know how thick they would need to make it if they did pave it.
I think I see, sorry, Alexis.
Go ahead, Alexis, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to understand why they said they can't build more there. I mean, that's a pretty big building, One Post Road, based on what I've seen. I've been there a few times. So why can't they build there? I'm not understanding.
Well, this is the vacant lot next to this, or to
Yeah, it's
One
right on the
Post
water.
Road.
Yep.
Yep, so One Post Road is right on the water, And then this 59 Post Road is where like the window store was. There was a building there. It was a 1-story that was right up against the sidewalk. Basically, it was right in front of Grassmere. If you were coming down Grassmere towards Post Road at the T, if you went straight, you would have gone into the building that was there. But now they tore that building down. There is like a window or a glass place, a computer shop, and I think maybe something else was in there as well. And that building got, so this is the lot, not one post. One post is next door
Right.
with the parking lot and the building.
So, okay, I'm still, I don't think my question was quite answered. So
Okay.
why can't they build there? Still not understanding that.
They can. That's what Emmeline's email said.
Well, there must be a reason. Is it environmentally sensitive? I'm just curious why they can't.
No, okay, so Chris Russo said that they can't build on it, and if they did, they would need to do pilings as it is in a coastal area. So while he said they couldn't build on it, what Emmeline said is that they do have approval to build on it, a multifamily 20-unit complex on it. Am I still not answering your question?
I mean, piling is a very basic form in construction, right?
That's not a big.
John,
that can't be a reason. I'm just not understanding that logic. Pilings are in construction all the time.
Yep, and they are in the One Post Road. I mean, that's on pilings as well because of Ash Creek.
Yeah.
Right.
That it sits on.
So, John, this is Paul. I have a question. So that sewer line really isn't the responsibility of the zoning department. It's responsibility of the engineering department. So I'm just wondering, she said they got an approval, so I'm guessing it's okay, but did they have to, engineering doesn't want them to do anything with that sewer line. It could stay there. They can just put the place on pilings and build over it. And if there's a problem, they'll have to dig up the ground, but they're not asking them to move that line or anything like that.
That's how I'm reading the email. The response from the email.
I think the email, as long as access is maintained to the sewer easement, in this case with a first level open parking garage, they can build above that airspace with the apartment building. So the first level is just going to have to be garage, underground, under parking.
Kathleen?
I was just going to say, is everybody ready to vote, or do we want to continue the conversation? I think that was the main question, was could they build on it or not? And the answer is yes, right? That was our outstanding action from the last time.
Correct.
So they do have a permit or something? What did Emmeline say?
No, they've been approved. They've been through zoning and they've been approved for a 20 apartment complex on the site. They just have to, how they build the base garage has to provide the town with access to the sewer. Because I think the appellant's argument was that they might not be able to build on it because of the sewer.
Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash.
They can.
If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash.
Okay, that's not unusual.
Yeah, so that was, that was our outstanding
Thank
question
you.
from when we deliberated on it last time, was, is it buildable or not? Can we double check with that before we deny it or approve it?
Unmuted.
Before we granted it, we wanted to see if, is it buildable or not? And I think the answer is yes, because it's been through all the, lease zoning and engineering would have had to look at it for zoning to approve it, so. Everybody's ready to vote. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Someone look for me. All those opposed, raise your hand.
Paulette, how do you vote?
I was in favor.
Okay.
4-1.
Any abstentions? No. Okay, so I think the motion fails 0-4-1. Paulette.
No. 1-4-0.
1-4-0. 1-4-0,
Yes.
sorry, Paulette, in favor.
In favor.
Yeah, and the appeal is denied.
This is Harold. I'm returned.
Okay.
Return receipt requested.
So is it okay if I take my break now, wherever you are? You good?
Certainly.
Okay.
I need a 1-minute bio break really quickly.
2, 3. So that's
We need one more back. So when
Okay.
Alexis comes back, we can start up.
You're muted.
Kathleen, you're muted.
I have to find a hotel for my son, but I've got 2 hours to do it. I forgot to do it this afternoon, and he's in driving in Kentucky. So I'm good. I've got 2 hours. So go ahead if Catherine wants to start one or whatever you want to do to keep moving, or we want to wait for Alexis to come back. But I'm here listening, whatever.
Kathleen, a suggestion, check out Hotel Tonight.
Yes, I use that app all the time. I just, anyone know a place in Lexington, Kentucky with a gym?
with the gym. I'll be right back.
I have a gym, I know, during COVID.
Does your son want to play dodgeball or?
He's on his way to Nashville, but he does want to visit the University of Kentucky tomorrow to check it out. So I probably should go to their site and see what hotels they recommend. That's usually my best luck with those travel.
It's graduation weekends, but
It
good
is,
luck.
yeah.
Well, I'm willing to bring up an appeal. I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's fresh in my mind.
Did you?
Appeal, meaning I haven't looked at the paperwork. So appeal number 202.
So we can take we have a quorum back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm here too. I just turned my camera off, but.
Okay.
This is, so it's 202 is the appeal number. The address is 2644 Bronson Road. Property owner's name is Bronson Meadows, LLC. The lawyer, John Fallon, was on FaceTime, and the appraiser, Mr. Gold, was present when we would discuss the property. And I would like to make a motion to reduce the town's value of $18,286,900 to the requested fair market value by the appraiser of $12 million.
I'll second it.
John seconds.
So without belaboring this is a very unique, special property. The appraiser was wonderful. Could not expect any more. It's still too far outside of my confidence in any competency level I will have to make a judgment on this, just for the sheer volume of numbers. But I did want to bring it up because they did a great appraisal. They looked at it was a property that was purchased 5 years ago, and it had some equestrian use, but they have turned it in. It is their private home, so it is not a public farm for horses. They have just built it out with very specific high-end structures. And so really the appraisal, which hopefully is in there, I saved just a few pages because it was, like a 100-page document, was very well done. He looked at, making the excess land, which wasn't buildable, things. He looked at other properties. The only properties that have sold, over $5 million or so in the, there were 3 sales over $5 million in town. They all have water views. This does not. So this property was purchased not with those water views. It would have to have a very, very specific buyer. It has a construction grade of 16, meaning over $700 a square foot. And that's what they've taken out permits on. Basically, it has very limited use. The appraiser even went to other towns because if you're looking for an equestrian property, you might not stay in Fairfield. So he looked at, different types of properties in Greenwich and so forth. So he did, he did his research. For me, I just don't know. I think I could talk about it for hours and still not feel comfortable that I'm okay saying it's worth a third of what the town says it's worth. Does anybody want to ask me
Or
any
is
other?
it 2/3? You mean it's worth 2/3?
2/3. I just feel that the numbers are so large, the property is so specific. The appraiser even went through and valued each of the different dwellings on it, the stables, the cottages, all that are, and I can tell you there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 properties on it. And those are dwellings. Plus there are 2 outbuildings, of which are estimated, in the 6 figures because they're a pool house, indoor pool. There's a covered riding ring that was put in 2020. So there's so much involved here. He revalues land for excess acreage. He brings in high value dwelling sales in Fairfield. He goes into residential equestrian properties in Fairfield County. Yes, Harold?
Did the appellant indicate any restrictions on his land?
No. I mean, there's,
So there's no restrictions except for the condition factor of wet. I can't believe all 30 acres are wet, but it could be. But with no restrictions, he's free to do on the land as he chooses, right?
well, it is 30 acres and yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Don?
It looks like, Russ, can you confirm that we went out and re-inspected the building on November 16th of 2020 based on the notes there? And I guess the
take a look.
And was that just one building or all the buildings, or there's a lot of field cards in here. So
Yeah, that was just for the rink when they put up the enclosed. It's not a rink; it's one of those circular walks that you hook the horse up and they go around in a circle.
I believe the technical term is riding ring.
Okay, and so that was for that. We right before the CO was issued on the main house, Ken and I, Ken Carvel and myself, did attempt an inspection. We did walk the property, but we did not get access to the main house.
okay.
And that was in, I gotta look at the visit history to verify that date, but I believe it was in 2019 when they got their CO.
Anybody need more time?
Paulette, were you going to say something?
I was going to ask, how could we say that there's like the grading for the finishes? How could it be graded as a 16 if never been in the main house to see what it looks like, what's been done in there? Moldings, trim work, excessive lighting, all those extra things that make the house worth more money. And the main house, which is the biggest structure, I think, because I'm looking at the inside pictures and I'm not being wowed by what's in it. So I think one of their points was that they were valuing it, the finishes. I guess they had it at a 16, whatever that means. I guess that's a high-end finish. So I'm just wondering, how did we get that number if we've never been inside?
We were inside prior to completion. So as the house is being completed, Ken did make, I believe, 2 interior inspections.
Okay.
But not,
But
we were denied entry for the final.
When was that?
I believe it was in 2019. Let me check the visit history.
Okay. I mean, while he's doing that, look at the pictures.
October 18th of 2019.
So that would be, okay. I mean, I'm not seeing, I don't know what what the grade, like what you're looking for with a grade of 16. I'm not seeing, this house actually looks old to me. It doesn't even look like it's new. And that may be what they were going for, an older look. But I'm not seeing high-end finishes here. I've seen houses like this all over town. So I think I think he's making
The
a
new
point with that.
construction or the house that was there before they bought it? Because they bought it with the intention of demolishing the house.
I don't know. These are the pictures he has. I don't know.
And
These
now
are in the,
everything,
hard to tell.
Okay, any further comments or questions? I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $12 million, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. I have 3 opposed. Appeal is not granted, it is denied. The vote is 2 in favor, Paulette and Alexis, and 3 opposed. The appeal is not granted. I mean, thank you, Catherine. I understood. I understand your comment that it's very difficult to assess if the appellate's value is correct in this matter, and you know, you stated so.
I would just I'd like the appellant to present. He did a wonderful presentation. I think I'll spread the joy and let other people hear it as well, who have better minds to me to absorb it. But
yes, I wish we had. I wish we had better comments on those that were in favor of granting the appeal as to what their reasons were.
Oh, I can tell you what my
Okay.
reason.
No, that's okay, Paulette. We already voted. Thank you very much.
Well, you're the one who asked for it. I didn't.
No, I didn't ask for it. No, you're wrong. I didn't ask. I just commented.
As usual, I'm wrong.
Next,
Sorry. No problem.
next. I didn't ask for it.
I'm not worried about it.
Alexis, thank you for letting me get these interesting ones in here. So I will turn the
A few
floor
more I
back.
can do tonight. And I have about 2 or 3 more I'm prepared to do tonight. So don't
Okay.
know if
That would be
there's
great,
time.
Alexis.
So we will go down to 593, appeal number 593. That is another residence on Fairfield Beach Road. It's 1995 Fairfield Beach Road. I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of 1.4 million down to $1 million of the appellant's opinion of fair market value.
I will Catherine, second.
593.
Very good. Thank you, Catherine. So as you can see, this is a pretty narrow piece of property. It's obviously on the beach side. The appellant's lawyer, Chris Russo, he didn't have many comparables to demonstrate during the hearing because he just felt like it's a pretty unique property. He did put forth 2087 as a piece of property that he wanted us to look at. And it's obviously a bit of an older, not older, but it was built in 1983 versus 2012. But the subject property is, but it's a much larger home, yet it was appraised at $1.3 million versus the subject property of 1.4, 100, I can't even talk tonight, 1.4, we'll say that. So he was just kind of confused on the value of the home here and just why the property was just so much more than, a home that's comparable. So don't really have much more to add to that. And you can see there's a chart on the last page of the comparisons. So the 2087 Fairfield Beach Road, it's a larger home at 2,747 square feet. And the subject property is at 2,214 square feet. And the land is much smaller.
And it looks like he's doing the square foot calculation to get to the number.
Yeah, that's kind of what his method has been all along.
Yep.
I've had several of these, and I think a few others have too.
Yep. I have as well.
This is Harold,
So, yeah, he was, yep, go ahead, sorry.
2087 is the comparison that he's brought up. Okay. 2087.
Actually, is it 2087 or 2081? Because it's 20, oh no, never mind. I'm looking at something different. Sorry.
I see
Yes.
21. I don't know that I see 20.
No, that's the current owner is at
Oh.
2081, but at the very top property location is 2087.
Okay.
So Alexis, if I'm understanding, the main part of the appeal here is that 2087 sold for close to 1.4 million, but has 500 square feet more than the appellant and about 5,000 square feet more in land than what the appellant has, and or is it the other way around? Can't quite tell. Yeah, that's what it is, because we're doing 1995 here.
Right, exactly.
But
And
is his building age flip-flopped? That the 2000 or the 2087 is 80, was that built in 83 or 12?
2087, I think, was built in 1983.
Yeah.
I see something on you that's different on the card, and that is on the comparable property that he's listed. There's two values. The land value is split. Both of them are waterfront, but 6,036 square feet is valid as a condition of 1, and 2,779 square feet as a condition of 0.1.
And that's because, Harold, I think the first row is FB7 zone and the second row is PC4.
So there is a creekside component of this property?
Of the comp.
Of
Yes.
1995?
No, of 2087. 95, let me just check. 95 is all in FB8 as far as their land goes.
Okay.
Attorney Russo kind of, made the argument that, this land is pretty narrow. You really can't do a heck of a lot on there. And he's asking, for a few $100,000 off. He just didn't feel like it made sense for, a house a few doors down to, be, a little less, given the differentials with the land size and the square footage.
So the portion on the beach side has a value of $982,900 for the 6,036 square feet, and the appellant has 4,500. Is it 5,500 square feet? Or, excuse me, I'll take that back. 3,450 square feet, and it's valued at $1,020,000.
Right.
I just want to see something, Russ, or not Russ, Harold. I'm trying to figure out because the difference between the FB7 and the FB8. And I'm not sure I see any difference between them. They both have conditions, neighborhood adjustments of 2.25. They both have conditions of 1.0. So Harold, what you're saying is on the appellant, or on the appellants, they have half the land size, but is less I'm sorry, the appellant has half the land, but is more land value, correct? Is that what you're saying?
It has, the land value is higher than the comp, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Same condition. It's just that the unit price is $52.60 per square foot. And the comp has $34.46 for the,
That almost looks like it almost seems like it's a reverse curve on the land in this case.
well, no, the larger the property, the less it is per square foot.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. This is Kathleen. I just heard the FB7 versus 8. I know John wasn't on last night, but we had that conversation. The FB8s have a lot of beachfront, like the high tide line is significantly much more away from their properties. And that's why the land value in MBS, or not in MBS, in the system,
model.
is in the model, right? The FB7s, you know, the water comes right up once you get to the end of the kind of, once the jetty's gone over there, a lot of the beach is gone. So they have erosion, they're up on higher stilts and things. So, you know, when you're looking at land, sometimes it's best to compare an FB8 land value to another FB8 as opposed to looking, you know, or 7s to 7s, because, you know, chances of getting flooded are much higher. You just have to have your dwelling up more. So,
Okay.
Are
Thank
these
you
two
for pointing that out.
I'm sorry. Are we saying that these two properties are in different like bingo zones of FB7 and
Yes.
FB? Aren't
Yep.
they near each other?
Yeah, they're like 2 doors down from each other.
Ridiculous. I can't change that much from 2 doors. Again, it's just another way to make money. It's crazy. This is just no reason for this. 2 doors away. I'm looking at the map right now, and I'm looking at how much land there is behind the house, behind the subject property, or facing the beach, I should say, where the sand is, 1995. And then the other one is what,
87.
2187. So I got to go this way. Okay. Okay. 2187 is kind of a little ways down. Let's see, 2187. It's right here. 2187. It's way down. I'm not seeing, let's see, 20. Okay, these lots. Okay.
While you're looking, Paulette, I'll point out that this house did sell on April 30th, 2020 for $1,375,000, and the town has it valued at $1,388,500. So it is valued at $7,500 more.
Cool.
And previously it sold for $2,300,000, but that was a long time ago. They did go for a informal, but there was no change. That's on the comp now.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
It does seem to me that the land is perhaps overvalued on the subject property. I don't know how to adjust that unless we can find neighboring land of similar size of 3,500 square feet and see what the land value is on the beachside nearby.
Well, there was 1901 that sold, but I think that was just a land transaction.
Well, 1987 has a land is 3,978 square feet, and the land is valued at $1,062,000. So it is in excess of $1 million.
What was the number of that one, Harold?
1987.
Okay. And when did that one sell last?
Well, it sold in 17.
Okay.
So I'm just
Yep.
comparing how the town has valued the land to see if there's some consistency there, given the size.
This is Kathleen. Sorry, I came in last, but I'm happy to look at some of the sales if that'll help you. I'm going to have to abstain, but I'm happy to help you look at what do you want, FB8 sales? Or
Well,
you
there
looking?
was, so I'm looking at 1901 that was sold. And that has, how much does it have for land value? I mean, the land is valued at 1.04 million.
So this is Kathleen. Usually what we see sometimes on some of these smaller lots that are less than a 0.1 lot, we saw some of them are around 0.1. Sometimes we will see condition factors on the land of what, 0.9 or 0.95 or something when the lots are smaller. I think we saw that on the vanilla property the other night on the narrow lots. So if this has a lot of beachfront, you know, it's different than being, I mean, I haven't looked on the GIS, but is it a long and narrow lot, or do they have, is it, you know, nice and wide, but just not as deep as some of the other ones? You know, to say that the land is less value, because down there, right, it's really your frontage on the water that in the FB8, you could have nice beachfront and not need to have a deep lot.
Oh, this is Harold. I'm not looking at that. I'm trying again to look at the land units and the land value that the town has put on it to see if it's comparable. And I see, for example, on 1965, where there's 4,600 square feet, the land is valued at 1.1 million. So I'm having difficulty finding land that's under $1 million, and the appellant is asking for a value of his entire property of $1 million.
Mm-hmm. So I would agree. I don't see how you could bring it to $1 million. I don't, because just we've seen too much activity down there, you know, on that part of FB8. We just have not.
Point of order, abstaining? Like I'm not.
I'm going to abstain from the vote. If you want me to abstain from the conversation.
Weighing in on the appeal. You can't.
Okay, I will stop.
Okay, unless we can find comps where the value is less than the $1 million, I don't see how we can get that low.
It's going to be hard to get comps. I mean, if we can't find it that's sold, we can't go by the town's value because we haven't done that before because we don't know if it's accurate or not. So I don't think I'd want to vote based on going with the town has other value, as other properties assessed at.
Okay,
That's just me.
that
but
makes
then-
sense.
But then he's got this comp here of what, 2087? That's got a lot more land and the value isn't that much different. So why don't we discuss that? I mean, what's the problem with that one?
Well, I think it's an older home. It does have more land, less land. No, excuse me, more land. I'm trying to keep it straight in my mind.
Yeah.
It has more land, and that's why I said earlier that perhaps the land is overvalued, but then I said, well, let's look at similar size lots and see if they have been assessed in the same range. Now, I understand your point, Paulette, maybe the town has it wrong, but in lieu of comps, I thought that might be a way of adding some consideration to a reduction in the entire property if the land was significantly too high compared to his neighbors. Now, I believe it was mentioned that he's going by square foot of the home. Is that correct?
Yeah, on page 9, he has
Right.
his, comp value, land value per square foot and square foot of subject living area
Mhm.
of the property. And that's how he comes up with the numbers of land.
Right. So I do have a problem going down to $1 million even.
You want to, this is, do you want to recommend another amount?
Whose appeal is this?
This is mine.
Okay. It's your option.
You,
I don't feel like I'm in a position personally.
Okay. Then I think that maybe we want to bring it to a vote. So, this is further discussion. I will ask for a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have one in favor. Paulette, are you voting or opposing? Or
Oh, I'm sorry, I voted in favor. I'm sorry.
in favor? Okay. I have 2 in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. I have 3 opposed. The appeal is not granted, is denied. The vote is 2 in favor, Alexis and Paulette, and 3 opposed.
And
Thank you.
I abstained, Harold. Kathleen, I abstained.
And Kathleen abstention. Yes, thank you. And one abstention. 6 votes altogether. 2, 3, and 1. Okay. Alexis?
I have another I can do. It's appeal number 166. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Sorry, I was having a for a moment. It's 1440 Fairville Beach. And subject, I'd like to make a motion, I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value of $1 million to Helen's opinion of fair market value, which is $959,100. This is
Harold, I'll second it.
Oh, sorry, thank you. 3-season, and I think from what the talent told me, it's one of the last ones down at the beach. It's truly a 3-season because it's just 3 seasons. if you guys can open up the file, if you made, there is a worksheet that the subject owner put together, which I found to puts together the property address, the 2020 land, 2019 land appraisal, the differential, the footage, and the value per square footage. And what she, the average square footage is 141 foot. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, okay. Sorry. So what she is saying, the numbers right now, that based on the data that she collected, she believes that there are much larger in the Fairville area that are 1.5 to 2.3 times larger, and it's appraised at a much lower price. And most of the other properties are actually 4 season time living versus her, which is just a 3 season.
That's my page. What appeal is this?
Sure, this is 166.
So
And
is
again,
the square,
they use it for May, literally November. They don't use it all year round because it's they don't have heat.
Alexis, is this purely, or is this appeal purely based on the land value?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, the whole value is in the land. The land is appraised by the town at 1,104,000,
Yeah.
and the dwellings at less than 55,000. So for her to have any appeal, it's got to be in the land.
Well,
would
yeah,
have
I
to
just wanted
take
to
the-
make sure that the square footage that I was looking at in the table and everything was for the land, which would make sense.
I think this is that's pretty fair and accurate. This is a 3 season home, and much smaller than the other in that. She's only asking a reduction of $200,000.
So
I just called the, oh, sorry, John, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that basically this is her whole point is based on the neighbors there and their square footage per land, right? Or value per square foot of land. And there's no comps, correct?
But I just called up
You mean
the
in
field.
terms of, is that what you mean? Comps?
Sale comps, yes, correct.
No, there are no
sales.
sale comps.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
this
think
is
you're gonna-
Kathleen, and just for, for her land comps are all FB7 land comps, so that might be why she's seeing, even though we don't do square footage land comparisons at the beach, most of those numbers are in the higher 2000s, which are down beyond, the jetty. So that's when the beach kind of gets less. So that might be why she was, if she had looked at, land comps going to the east of her property into the 1918, 1700s, she might have seen different square footage numbers, but she's looking at FB7 lots, and they are valued, at least in the reval, that land has less value.
And this is Harold. She is in an FB8 location zone. So clearly, if we looked at FB8, which she did not include, we would possibly see higher square footage. Is that what you're saying, Kathleen?
And yeah, I mean, we still don't do value per square foot because we know that land is on a curve, but her odd number 2063 is the only one I checked, but those other odd number ones are higher. So they're definitely all going to be FB7s. And then the even number ones are creekside properties, right? We know the evens are on the creek. So again,
even numbers are creekside, yes.
right. So those might be PC4 numbers that she's putting out there, but in general, well, not in general, but the FB8s have a higher land value than the FB7s and the PC4s. So had she done that, I don't know, with a comparable lot, an FB8 lot, same size as her, she might have seen the same number.
Catherine, you had your hand up?
I just call up the field card. It's how I look at the data. And I mean, she she really does have just a cottage here. It is 1,000 square feet. The lot size is only 4,600 square feet. I mean, she is waterfront. The only permits she's pulled was to, about $20,000 to rebuild the front porch after Sandy. I'm going to let the land value do whatever it can. I'm going to vote on the value as a total. I think she's reasonable that, that's what that cottage would sell for.
I agree.
So I'd like to call a vote if, unless somebody needs more time. Okay, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of, what was it, 900 and, bear with me, 959,100. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I have 3 in favor. Opposed, please raise your hand. 3 opposed. It's a tie. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 3 in favor and 3 opposed. Harold, John, and Kathleen opposed.
Anyone
Yes,
else
Kathleen.
is anybody else going to need a break, or I may vamoose for the evening so I can prep for my next morning of appeals? I don't know how you and Harold do it, Kathleen, but is anybody else going to need a break? I'll cover for you. No?
No, but this is Kathleen. Did you want to do another one if Alexis wants it?
I can't stay until 9 tonight. I have another call. I can't stay until 9.
Okay, so it's 8:24 anyway. So what are we looking at?
So Alexis, you want to keep going though, and then when you have to
I have
break,
one more
why don't you do it?
for the night, and then I'm good.
Okay,
Okay.
Alexis, do
I'll,
one.
I will move away for 20 minutes or so and see what I can pull together to come back and do another one or two. But Kathleen, anybody else who has another one?
I'm good. I got a hotel. I'm good.
All right.
Great. This is appeal number 15, same owner, Frank, 90 Fairville Beach Road. And I'd like to make a motion to bring down the town's value, garage lot 60,800 down to 55,800.
This is Harold. I'll second.
Great. And again, similar that she had in the earlier, she has data of the land appraisal. The land appraisals, no sales, and it just shows that that significant loss of Fairville Beach Road area are much larger as and lower appraisal on both the dollar and the footage basis. She doesn't think it's favorable. Again, I don't think she's asked for a lot. It's a pretty request.
So this property is in the PC4 zone, it looks like, according to what Paulette calls the bingo chart.
Yes, bingo.
Yes.
But no one tonight, so I don't know how much of a bingo chart it is.
Okay. Let's see here. I think a lot of the comps, just at initial glance, let me just double check, are in the other zone, the WP4. 14.8 goes up to 14.18. So yeah, I think all the other comps are in the WP4 zone. Versus hers, that's in the.
Yeah, the end. This is a small lot. A little.
This is Harold, and is the difference between the WP4 and the PC4 access to the water?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Kathleen. Yeah, the other thing I was going to add, it's 1320 square feet. So she's got 4620 on the beach side. So what we know from our presentation last night is she can't sell it. So we have to kind of look at it as value for the entire parcel. So it does add 1320 to her lot coverage. So even if she can't do anything with it, it does help what she can build someday on the beach side, because it adds another, you know, almost 1/3 to her land, you know, square footage for coverage. So it has value, as a whole to the parcel, and not, you know, in addition to parking. So, and all the neighbors are valued similarly on those Creekside lots, right? That, you know, she's got a bigger one than some of the other ones at 1320. So, and, you know, we've been trying to keep them somewhat consistent.
I haven't been. I think we have individual.
That you're right. I have been, or the majority have.
All right. Do we need more time? Any further comments or discussion? We have 5 members, is that correct? Catherine has left us. So we have 5 members. I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal, please raise your hand. I have 1 in favor. I have 1 in favor. Paulette, how are you voting?
I had my hand up. Sorry, I was in favor.
Okay, but your screen is not on, so that's why I'm asking.
Trouble with the phone.
Okay,
So.
I have 2 in favor, opposed, 3 opposed. The appeal is not granted, is denied. The vote is 2 in favor, 3 opposed. Alexis and Paulette in favor. Thank you. All right.
I have actually a question for the assessor. I think
Yes.
he was appeal number 528, the Scalera rights. He was going to some issues about the and the square footage of the. Were we able to address that issue?
Let me check the file. If I remember correctly, Ken has been out to this property a couple of times, and I think the best thing to do would be to ask him to call in, and then he could speak to what to his inspection. Let me just double check, because I think that's the case.
Okay.
Yes, Ken has been out here, and I know he, did a pretty extensive remeasure of the house probably about a year ago, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it looks like he was out in May of 20.
Or this is how perhaps it was April 3/10/20, and then a change was made earlier this year as a result of the informal. I see that as well.
So the owner was saying
in
the hearing. Sorry.
Yeah, Ken was out in March 10th of 20.
So the field card is accurate. Is that what you guys are saying?
I'm speaking for when I spoke to Ken, but yeah, Ken said he did a pretty extensive remeasure of this property, and he's pretty confident in his measure. But certainly, if you like, I can have him come and speak to his inspection.
Okay. It seems, well, I mean, obviously I trust what Ken is saying, but I mean, the homeowner is also saying what the card has is larger than it is. So I'm just curious. And the car that there was a living area square footage correction too.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, one of the questions was on the circular staircase.
Yeah, the
And if
atrium
you
or
look at the
something.
card, you see that I'm sorry?
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I remember. Sorry, that the homeowner mentioned or something.
Right, and if you look at the card, you can see that the that oval on the sketch is that staircase, and 2 stories of cathedral ceiling.
You're referring to the drawing on page 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Any further questions or comments?
Is there a motion on the table?
I don't think
there's
so.
No.
No, I just had a question just as, as I go into tomorrow's deliberation. I just wanted to make sure I could. Thank you.
I didn't quite understand. It was a little broken up. Do you
I
wish
was
to present this appeal this evening?
No, not this evening. I want to look at the file. I just wanted to.
Okay.
We did have a discussion about it last week. I just wanted to follow up on that conversation. That's all.
Okay. And I do see
This is
that.
Ross. Would you like me to arrange for Ken to call in?
Sure, if he has, it'd be great. At his leisure tomorrow, 6:30 maybe.
Yeah. So this will be heard tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll arrange for him to give a call in.
He's whenever he's available. I'm from 6 to 9, so he's available. Thank you.
Okay,
I'd like to announce that Catherine has joined the meeting again.
Great.
Okay, if I present, I do have a couple in Mill Hill I could get started on. Are they on the list? Is that appropriate to do? I know we're moving.
Yep, I'm just going to read the time into the record. It's 8:34. I know it's helpful for people listening and, minutes when we state the time. Okay. And people come and go. Yeah.
Question first. It's Paulette. May I ask a question?
Yes, Paulette.
I'm just wondering, I'm looking at, the town's money, which of course comes from our taxes. Every time we have somebody come do a phone in because they're not physically coming with us, is that costing the town money, or is that just done because it's done?
Who are you addressing the question to?
Well, I don't know who would know that. I'm wondering if anybody knows it. For example, when the attorney comes, when Jim Went comes, when the guy from engineering comes, now Ken's going to call in. All these people coming to spend time with us for the half hour it takes. Are we paying them to do that, or is that part of their job? Because we're paying them. Maybe we should check with Ken in the morning. We don't need to cost the town any more money.
Attorney bills by the
Attorney bills by the hour, so we're paid him to come and talk to us. And I don't know about the other people. I don't know what their payment arrangement is, and it's not my business to know their arrangement. I just want to know if we're being billed for those people coming and participating in giving us information.
When you say we, who do you mean?
Oh, when I say we, I mean the board. I don't mean the town. I mean, does the town pay for them to come and talk to us at the board?
This is Kathleen. Ken is Ross's employee, so I'm guessing if Ross is comfortable, he can answer that question. I don't know if he wants to, but he does work for him, so he would know.
Oh, I can speak for myself and Jim Went and Bill Hurley. We're all exempt. I'm assuming the other two are, but I'm exempt, so we're not eligible for overtime.
Okay.
I believe that the people who are taking our minutes are employed by the town, and they are paid for their time when we are meeting and their minutes are being taken.
And they should be paid for that. So
Okay.
Okay, I got my answer. Thank you.
One thing I do know is that we're not paid.
But we're not, other towns pay, Fairfield doesn't.
Okay. Catherine, yes, let's do some Mill Hill.
Mill Hill, this would be Appeal 28, and the time is 8:37 to help
Right.
Kathleen point. So Appeal 28, property address is 465 Fulling Mill Lane. There is Sanford Herman and his wife Gloria, but it was Sanford who came to present. And I'd like to make a motion to reduce the town's appraised value of $1,008,800 to the appellant's requested value of $830,000. Do I have a second?
This is John, I'll second.
Thanks, John. So 2 points. One is that there is a generator on the field card for $15,000, I believe, and the appellant said he paid about $10,000 10 years ago for the generator. So I'd like to make a quick motion to correct that field card to a better generator code. Can I make that motion as a second?
A card correction, this is Kathleen, a card correction motion.
Yeah, so do I have a second for that?
I'll second it. Do you know what the amount is?
No, I figured let's make the correction and then I'm sure. And if Ross, if you're here, I don't mean to put him on the spot for.
Well, this is Harold. Let me just preface by saying I believe that there are different values that the town puts on generators. And given the fact that this is 10 years old and should have a depreciated value as a result, I would ask the assessor to give us a revised value for the generator.
This is John. Yeah, that's true. So it does have 15, but the percent good is 100% good on the field card for this. So I don't, go ahead.
Can't we just vote that the assessor will, correct the field card for what he feels is inappropriate? I mean, I don't know why we have to vote on all of the dollar amounts and then we can hear the appeal. Talk about, just seems like a.
This is Harold. I'm not sure either, but it seemed to me that if we're going to make a car correction, we should know what the car correction is going to be.
Okay, well, is Ross there? Let's move on.
Just working on the change.
Oh, thank you very much. Ross, do you mind if we discuss the fair market value while you do that? I don't think there'll be any other questions as to the field
Go
card.
right ahead.
Thanks. Thank you, sir. Okay, so the owner was clearly from an analytical profession, and he went through a lot of and just made note that the town appraisals on various properties that he saw was 7 to 8% less than the sale prices for 2020 sales. And when he started looking at those on his streets, he said, now here, and he pulled up a sale. So this is an actual sale, not just the comps. The house across the street from him, number 470 Fulling Mill, is his sold comp. Both properties are 4 bedrooms. The subject property.
Your input is invalid.
The subject property is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath colonial of 3,200 square feet on an acre. And the sold comp is very similar in acreage and square footage. It's slightly smaller. It has an additional bath, has a pool, might have a little newer kitchen. The appraisals, the town values are very close. However, the sale comp sold in 2020 for $875,000. So the appellant is saying, well, that's in slightly better condition, has maybe a newer kitchen and does have a pool. So that's why he has come up with his $830,000 as a requested value. Another house that did sell, just so, you know, when we look at the street and we try to find out what else was sold, there was a sale for $1,150,000 in very late 2019, but that was a 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 4,300 square foot. So not really a comp. The one across the street, he feels, is an actual comp. So I think we'll wait for Mr. Murray if he has the number with you, and then take any other questions. Yes, Kathleen?
Yeah, so is he pricing himself? I'm still trying to get my head around the numbers here. Higher or lower than the comp? Did he say he's a little better, a little worse, or where's he dollar value compared to that?
He feels he's a little worse because he does not have a pool and he hasn't changed any of the condition of his property. So that's why he's asking for $830. The comp sold for $875.
Okay.
Okay, but did have a pool. So I think if we wait for the generator and we get another number, and then we can see how much of the reduction is all due to the generator.
This is Harold. In the meantime,
Okay.
I do have a question, and that is, it appears that he's doing an average of these properties, and without looking at the specific comp that he wants us to consider and seeing if the aspects of that or the characteristics of that comp are equate to his, it's difficult for us to say if his averaging is the proper way of coming up with a new figure, a new value for him.
And I agree and explained that to him. So that's why we discussed the sale comp, because I said you could do all this, but he was a very analytical person. And he said what actually bothered him the most was that he's appraised similar to his neighbor. But he said his neighbor is so over. I said, well, are you appealing your neighbor's property or yours? And he was like, I don't know. I mean, he was distraught would be a dramatic word to use. He was very, he had a very pleasant demeanor, but he was really most distraught over how high his neighbor was appraised. So I had to ask him, well, I think we're here for your appeal, and I need a number for you. So he said, look, if that one sold for $875, he discussed the conditions of the home and, how long they had been there and the conditions. And he says, and I think a pool, I think a fair, from the $875 to $830, $45,000. He thought they had a better kitchen, and they had a pool.
Okay.
That's how he came up with $830. And I don't think we need to belabor his analysis. I think that's just where he was going.
Yeah. So this is Kathleen. So I would say if we're going to tend to grant this, then we don't even, maybe Ross has a number by now, but we get into trouble when we may not grant the appeal, that we want to make sure the card correction is recorded so the person gets it in the GL 2020. In this case, I don't know if Ross is ready or not, but if he's not, we can, never mind the card correction, just make sure he includes it. I'm assuming we're not going to go below. We're going to go to what he's asking, including the generator being removed, changed. Is that accurate? Like that includes a corrected generator.
I would agree with that. This is Ross.
Yeah. And then
If
he'll
you're
just
going to
fix
reduce
it
it below
as
the
part of
generator, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And that's how I started with the motion of,
Yeah.
please include the consideration for the generator.
Right.
All right. Has everyone looked at sufficient amount of information? Are we ready to vote?
I looked at the comp, so I'm ready.
Who's speaking?
Sorry, this is Paulette. I went on
Paulette.
impairment. I'm fine with his request.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul. Me
So,
too. I hope one more.
All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. The appeal is granted. The vote is 5 in favor, no opposed. Alexis, are you still with us?
I'm here. Yeah, I was voting in favor of this.
6 in favor. No opposed, no abstentions. It's unanimous. The appeal is granted.
Mr.
Thank you.
Sanford and Mr. Herman, if yes, because he has two last names for his first. Mr. Herman, if you're listening, now you can go visit your neighbor with a nice welcome present for next year. Okay. It's 8:47. Does anybody else have one? I'm a little less polished on my next presentation, but I do have another one.
I can throw in some commercials, but if you're happy to keep going with your whatever you got there, I'm good with that too.
Okay, well, I'll do one more, and if it goes quickly, then we'll jump to your, and I won't go with my ones that I haven't. Okay.
Excuse me, I would like to suggest that perhaps we can bring back an appeal that John had heard, since he's here. And that is to bring back a commercial property. Do we want to do that now? Or I know that John will be with us another few nights. We can do it at a later date.
Harold, while you were doing,
Like we did that.
while you were having dinner, we did that one, I believe.
Yes,
You're
that's the one.
Post Road?
69 Post Road. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you snuck that in on me. Okay, back to you, Kathy.
I'm not going to tell you what the vote was, though.
I do have to excuse myself to go to another meeting. I'm double booked here, so I'm going to.
Thanks, Alexa.
All
I'll
right.
see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Alexis.
good night.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Great.
It's
Bye.
8:48. Yeah, for the record. Alexis left at 8:48.
Yes, thank you.
Appeal number 481. The property location is 739 Mill Hill Road, and the owner's name is J. Paul Ross. I'd like to make a motion to reduce the town's value from $1,259,900 to the appellant's value of $1,150,000. Do I have a second?
This is Harold, I'll second.
Thank you very much. Okay, 3 parts to his appeal. The first, in December of 2019, he had a refinance and the appraisal is there for $1,150,000, his requested value. When I asked him if he had more current activity, because of course the comps in December of 2019 might have fallen outside of the revaluation period, he went home and he sent in a couple of comps. Now, I'd like it to be noted, if you scroll down about halfway, I guess I should call it up in preview, open with preview so I can get some page numbers here. But if you go down, you can see that his house is really a ranch. I am looking at page 16 of 52 in his appeal doc. It's really a ranch, and yes, they have a very small amount of the square footage upstairs finished off. So it's, you know, it's listed as a cape, but it feels more like a ranch, and it has the 3 bedrooms. So, you know, the comps are not all. So anyway, he sent in the comparables that were sold, and you can see they're really all selling. He tried for the next page down, so page 17. Mill Hill Road, Half Mile Road, Mill Hill Terrace, sold for $980, $985, $1 million. So high nines. He's higher than that at $1,150,000. And one that was not comparable, he said, was 535 Warner Hill Road, which was considerably larger and higher quality. So we go. He does have some square footage analyses and all that, but I think we can focus on the sales more. And of course, the refinance appraisal is good. And then he had one. And then he does do an analysis where the houses on the street, the assessments are less than the sale price. But anyway, he seems to be appraised or valued at much closer than the very high 535 Warner Hill Road, which has 5,900 square feet. And he's not near that. So he thinks his appraisal should certainly be less than that. So I was pretty confident that the 1,150,000, even if we're trying to get COVID prices and increases.
Okay.
There's a,
Um,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anybody need more time? Kathleen?
No, this Kathleen, I was just looking at the 101 Mill Hill Lane that's on his list there. It's sold for $1.3 million. Is he on Mill Hill Lane or Mill Hill Road?
He's on Mill Hill Road.
Mill Hill Road. So is that not a comparable? He did put it on his list.
Are that they go, and how big was that? I mean, he has 3,500 square feet. It's, you know, it's a significant, but
Yeah.
it's almost a ranch. What is that
Right.
one?
3,400 square feet. Sold for $1.3 million.
What does it look like?
I haven't looked at it yet. That's why I said I don't know. I just saw it on his list there, and it popped out because as a high, you know, as something with a Mill Hill name, thinking it was his road. So I didn't know.
No, Mill Hill Lane juts off of Mill Hill Road, not far from where I live. And it is, if it's the house, I think it is, it may be, have a pool. But this property is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath and
Yeah.
2 half baths. And it does have,
And
you know, a few extra features. It has a finished open porch, patio, and so on. But I think that the appraisal looks representative to me.
Yeah, the comp doesn't look, this is Kathleen, the comp is a modern sort of angular building.
Yeah.
Doesn't look, you know, very, not a comparable in terms of
Okay,
certainly curb appeal on
so
Mill Hill Lane. Okay,
I can call a vote. All those in favor of granting the requested value of $1,150,000, please raise your hand. I have 1, 2, 3 in favor. Opposed? I have 1 opposed. Paulette, how did you vote?
I was in favor, sorry.
Okay, I have 4 in favor, 1 opposed. The appeal is granted to $1,150,000. John is opposed.
well, thank you all. I will 6 minutes or get, I'm sure you can get another in, Kathleen. We'll put on our commercial hat.
do you want me to you want me to do, I will grab some to put them all back.
You know, I did 9 today. That's a lot for me to, now I can really clear my head.
Think of what you have left.
I am. I keep my tally sheet here.
All right, so let me try this one. It's on the commercial tab. So it's appeal number 6. The property address is 1645 Black Rock Turnpike. The owner of the property is Harbor Townhomes LLC. The town has the property valued at $4,413,700, and the appellant was requesting a reduction to $3,700,000. So I make a motion to grant the appeal, reduce the requested value to $3,700,000.
Is there a second?
This is John, I'll second.
John seconds it. What was the appeal number again, please?
For number 6.
Number 6.
Mm-hmm. And it's on the commercial tab. I am done with my residential. So these are apartments. If you look at the field card, off on Black Rock Turnpike. And his primary concern was he wanted to know whether the affordable housing units that he has in his complex were used in the town's valuation of the property. And that's really, he didn't have an appraisal or anything. He knows what he spent on it. He knows what the bank has it as. He knows what his cash flow is, but he wanted to know if they put, you know, the affordable housing into the math. The bank had it at 3.7 million. He said he'd submit the bank paperwork that shows the support, but his primary concern was, you know, was the affordable housing units, it's a 29 unit apartment complex with 9 units of affordable housing. is it in the rent numbers considered when valuing the property? And he said yes. So I asked the assessor's office to give me that response, and they said yes, the rent restriction is considered in the valuation. So that was really what his appeal was.
So this is Harold. This is an apartment building, and the town has presumably received income and expense data. And none of that appears here, and there's no comps. And we have an answer to the question he posed. Do we need to confirm the response with him?
This is Kathleen. I did ask the assessor's office to give him that answer as well as me. I put that in my request. Ross could confirm whether the appellant was made aware of that or not. But
Okay.
that was the basis of his appeal.
I see the answer in your note. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Paulette.
I just want to say that I have no appetite to reduce this value. This man built a building that he should have not been able to build if it wasn't for that little loophole of that 830G or whatever it is. He's getting a ton of money in rent, and the reason he's getting it is because he built those affordable units. He's getting his break like he should. There's no reason to reduce this value. This is a very valuable building considering it doesn't belong there in the first place. So I would never vote to lower this. I would never grant this appeal. He's getting, this is a gold mine for him.
Yes.
So.
You
Yes,
didn't
okay. I appreciate the comments. Catherine, yes?
If he didn't build the 9, he wouldn't have gotten the 20.
That's
Okay.
right. Right. That's exactly what I was getting at.
Yes. No, I'm just hitting it from different ends.
We do appreciate the knowledge coming from knowledgeable real estate people. Thank you. So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. To grant, this is to grant the appeal.
Well, your grant.
Oh, sorry.
After what you said, I had to ask again, Paulette.
Asking because I lost control.
Okay, I just want to keep everybody on the up and up. So all those in I have seen no votes in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Then I see the votes. There are 5 opposed. It's unanimous. The vote is 0-5-0. The appeal is not granted, and the vote is unanimous. So given the hour, I think we did quite well. We're on again tomorrow, starting at 6 o'clock. I believe that Kathleen is going to do some hearings for people who requested rescheduling, and that's going to be at 3 o'clock. And that's going to be recorded. There'll be a record of that, and then those will be brought before the board for deliberations and voting. So I'll see you folks at 6 o'clock, or some of you at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Is that correct, Kathleen?
Yeah, I just want to confirm. I think it's you, me, Paulette, John is on tomorrow night, and Peter. That makes at least 5. And then we have Alexis, because she has more beach she wants to do. So we have plenty. I don't think Catherine is on unless she wants to do something. And I don't think Ronique needs to be. I don't know about whether Judy wants to join us or not, but we did schedule Friday morning to do some more commercial if we need to. So that's giving us, one more day this week to, fingers crossed, we'll finish all the appeals of, at least the first round by, hopefully by the end of the week. I think, we made really good progress this morning, and I think we made good progress tonight, probably the most we've made at night in a while, so that's good.
Well, I think that will make the executives of our town happy so that they can proceed with what they have to do to finalize their financial doing. So I don't know what all that entails, but it has to do with finances, I suppose. So I'm going to ask for someone to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. A second.
I'll second it.
Catherine, this meeting is adjourned.